to see your plants thrive like never before? Let's dive into Real Growers Recharge. Imagine your plants growing faster, stronger and healthier. Real Growers Recharge is like a magical elixir for your garden. Packed with beneficial microbes, it boosts nutrient absorption and enhances root development. Just mix it with water and watch the magic happen. It's that simple. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or just getting started, Recharge makes it easy to achieve lush, vibrant plants. Plus, it's eco-friendly and safe for all types of plants. From veggies and flowers to houseplants, Recharge covers it all. So why wait? Give your garden the boost it deserves with Real Growers. Recharge and enjoy the lush, thriving garden of your dreams. Your plants will thank you.
Go to the link in the description to save big and score free shipping on all Real Growers products, or use coupon code Cortez at checkout. Every time you save, you're also helping the channel bring you content like this.
What's going on, everybody? It's Cortez the Conqueror and Canna Alicia.
Hello.
How you doing
Happy
today,
birthday,
Alicia?
Chunky.
Oh yeah, I had to throw in that big shout out for Chunky Nugs, holding it down for the Mod Squad in the live chat.
Happy birthday. Exciting today. I'm excited to meet Rasufa.
Yeah, we truly got one of the OGs on today. So nice to have a guest on that was growing weed before it was legal. Back when you had to have a set of balls because it wasn't like, oh, well, the governor said it's okay.
Yeah.
Back when
Yeah,
cannabis wasn't such a safe space, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure he could teach us some tricks for sure.
Oh yeah, Rasufa is a wealth of knowledge. He's got a lot going on. But slightly bad news for everybody. So Comcast isn't coming out till next Saturday now. They rescheduled me, so we are still on this DSL connection. And I might cut out at some point. I was actually having some little glitches while the intro was playing there. I could see myself. But as always, the show is brought to you guys by Real Growers. If you guys want to save 10% store-wide, whether it be Grow Dots, Recharge, an entire Real Bucket system, go ahead to www.realgrowers.com/Cortez or just use Cortez at checkout. Any orders over $50 also score free shipping within the continental United States.
Nice. Yep. Save some money, what you're already gonna get. And if you haven't gotten it, you'll love it. Promise. I love Grow Darts and Recharge.
Oh, I know. We just did our second giveaway too. So we did the Halloween giveaway, and we just did the Thanksgiving giveaway. Just to let you guys know too, we actually got something that we've been kicking around to do for you guys for Christmas. So that actually might be the biggest giveaway yet. Definitely, I still got one more of the Real Grower bundle packs to give away, and then there's a couple other ideas we're kicking around here.
Yep.
to make it a little bit better, a little bit bigger. It's going to be
Stay-
huge.
Stay tuned. We'll release the date when we're all 100% on it.
Right, but it's probably definitely going to be on the Sunday, the 22nd show.
Okay.
And we got a really big guest for that day, too. Another DGC guy. We're going to have JLS Monster on from Threes Genetics. He's going to be a great guest to have on.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be
They
fun,
make
yeah.
amazing live rosin.
I've heard. And see. Want to bring on the man, the myth, the legend?
Yeah, let's not hold the people up too much longer. Go ahead and bring Rasufa on. What's going on, Rasufa? How you doing, bud?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Thank
I
you
think I
for
might
all
have
that
thrown
prayer.
my back out earlier, but I'm trying to struggle through here.
No
You
such
need
thing
You need some Rasufa, Holmes.
as
Some of my
Do you
salve.
make a topical?
I absolutely do. Hey, see, there you go. Whipping it out on cue. I love it.
Oh, shit.
I got two of them. One is at work, one stays here.
How do you like it?
I like it. It's moisturizing, but it's not like super greasy. It does have the canna smell, but I kind of prefer that than things that are trying to be scented of something else, because then that bothers my nose. So
the reason there's a lot of canna smell, I'm kind of in a period right now where I'm looking at my machines that do infusions for me, and that was made with magical butter. Which
okay.
Do you guys want to hear about the machines? I give you a breakdown on like Levo and magical butter.
See, I have a
Magic
Levo.
Butter's what I use. Yeah.
It's super fast, man, and super easy and super quick to clean, and it's just simple, quick, and it does a lot. You know, you can do, what is it?
So versatile.
5 cups of oil in a magical butter.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Five cups is about where that max fill line is. Sometimes I'll throw about another cup in there, but I have found if I get a little too greedy, all the shit starts coming out from the sides. And if you put enough to where it actually kind of like pressurizes the lid off, you will interrupt your cycle, which I have done.
So how much are you putting in per cup?
What do you mean?
How much flour?
Well, it kind of all depends on what I'm making. It depends on what the end goal is. And it also depends on what part of the plant am I using. Am I using more prime nug? Am I using more trim? Is it larf? Is it kind of a salad of it? Because if a recipe calls for use 2 cups of olive oil with a half ounce of flour, it's like, okay, well, if that's probably like a half ounce of prime nug, but if I'm going just for like this bag of shake that I got, I should probably throw at least a whole ounce in just to compensate, because that's a little bit lower THC, you know what I mean?
I'm not using a lot of THC. All my stuff is usually CBD and CBG, and I'm getting that source out of Denver from a really great DGC, powerful female grower. We need more of that. Her name is Green's Goddess, but her product is Living Euphoric. You can find both of
I'm
those.
pretty sure I've seen that name before.
Yeah.
We
you
follow
met
each
her.
other on IG.
She's been to the cup. You've met her. You know, Jules is awesome. You know, I was getting my stuff out of Oregon from a company that, you know, I just had found, and it wasn't anybody I knew. And Julie approached me and said, hey, I'm having trouble getting my stuff seen on IG. And all the time, would you use some of my stuff and put it on?
Sure, I'll try it out.
And I said, yeah, I didn't even hesitate. I said, yeah, you know what? Why don't I just switch over to you?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I'd rather give my money to a friend. I'm like, you got COAs on your stuff, right? And that's a
You got to vote with your dollars.
It's a certificate of analysis to prove that she's farming CBD and CBG. She said yes. I never asked her to see her COAs. because she's my friend and she said she had them, and she's a licensed CBD grower in Denver. So I'm fully trusting her because she's awesome. I'm not worried about it in the least. And her stuff is great. Everybody said it's really worked. And I get her smalls, right? So like her prime stuff that she can't really package, I'm like, I'll take all that, all your little bags. You know what I mean?
All right, let me get that.
That's what I use. Sometimes I get prime flour from her that's past shelf life, and she'll just ship me a little goodie thing. You know, she's awesome. She's starting to get into some good terps now with her CBD stuff, if anybody's into that. Hey, Galaxy, I just see you popped into the chat there. What's up, buddy? Galaxy won a box from me back a while ago on, I think it was Uncle Rick's show.
Yeah, that's where I got salve from.
Oh, okay.
I've actually been getting more into the topicals myself, especially like with my wife, with her issues, and then like all my aches and pains from years of abusing my body. You know what I mean? I got like 2-shot kneecaps, 3/4 tear in the rotator cuff was never operated on. I fucked up my rhomboid muscle.
Right.
So I actually have been adding CBD component when I've been making the topicals that I've kind of like just gotten into, but I actually have been going with this product. I think it's like Future Compounds or something like that. It came recommendation from JR Token.
Oh, nice.
This stuff almost looks like cocaine if you look
Yeah,
at it.
it's good crystalline.
It's 99% pure CBD isolate. So that's what I've been throwing in with my flour.
You know, I would recommend getting yourself some CBD flour and getting away from that isolate.
Yeah.
I'll talk to JR about that too. But frankly,
then I've been putting DMSO and I've been doing the Dit Dat Jiao too. So I got like some science in there. I got a little bit of Eastern medicine in there.
The problem with these isolates is their efficacy is super low. You know, when you take a single compound out of a plant that's learned how to combine several phenols and compounds and all that shit together to create a full profile. When you remove one from there, you do not get the efficacy because it's not working with all. It's
not balanced.
You're not getting the full entourage effect.
That's part of it, yeah, and they gear each other up too. You know, I mean, like entourage is an effect, but that is also going to help whatever cannabinoids.
Kind of like if you smoke dabs for a little bit too long, and then like the dabs kind of start, like, you know, we'll put you into like outer space. But if you smoke nothing but dabs for like a month, that shit's not gonna get you high at the end of the month. But then you can switch back to some flour, and it's like, wow.
I don't know if anybody in chat or anybody who's listening or will listen has tried dry herb vapes, but man,
I have one. I got an easy dry herb vape.
So I've been using something called Vatvanna. A lot of people are complaining about it because, you know, whenever somebody starts to do well,
I know someone got to find something wrong.
People come out of the woodwork.
No, so whatever.
That's how you know you've established yourself. That's how you know you've made it to a certain point when you start getting the people pop out like that. So it's just kind of really validation. You got to look at it as a positive.
And I have two camps in my own friends. I mean, I have friends who use this machine with me, and I learned from them about this machine, and now we all love it. And I have friends in those same circles that are like, I could show you how to build one for half that price, you know, and it's
you'll always find that asshole.
Well, you know, they're your friends, so you know,
it
makes for good conversation. But
I love mine.
I've loved my Vatvanna.
You can buy that for $37 worth of parts at Home Depot.
Oh no, the Vatvanna is much more.
Oh no, I was just speaking from the voice of the do-it-yourselfer.
Did you try my Vatvanna when we were at the Cup last year?
I might have. I know I was talking to you. Weren't you helping out with Raider Dink Vader?
Yeah.
That's mostly where I saw you. Was over
okay. I'm always helping Raider at some point. You know, it's
hell yeah.
I slip in when I see those guys having trouble, and you know,
Get in the weeds a little too far.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You know. But you know, that's DGC for you. Where none of us are really super organized out there. We're just kind of waiting. And that's why we have the best cup, I think. You know,
Yeah.
I go to a lot of events, as you guys.
I'm gonna be vending this year, brother.
same.
I made it official with Dude with Brett.
Nice. What are you
The
gonna
only
do?
thing that Brett asked, I think he's still a little shell shocked. He's a little gun shy at Cortez at the moment. So he wants me to have everything labeled, but I think he wants me to bring my percentages down a bit. But I mean, that's totally understandable because not everybody has the same tolerance, and they might have to have like a little timeout area if everybody were to get their hands on my stuff.
Well, so he wants you to come up with a cultivar that's got less juice. Is that what he's saying?
No, because okay, so I'm gonna be doing food service.
Oh,
I'm gonna be doing wings.
I
I'm gonna be doing like appetizers. I'm gonna
It's
be
funny
doing
that I think what we
sandwiches,
said.
that kind of thing. But it's like for each food thing, there's
Yeah.
gonna be like an accompanied infused sauce on the side.
So
So
I don't know. If
I
it
already
was
kind of got like a
awesome.
rough menu, but he's like, okay, so I'm gonna let you do it. You're in, Cortez, don't worry. But everything needs to be labeled. Everything needs to be measured.
I'm not sure.
And by the way, what are your current level? I'm like, oh, then I actually did it for this marinara sauce that I just made. And it was 59.9 milligrams of THC per fluid ounce. So I was portioning before I did the math, when I first made it, I made these mozzarella sticks because I'm gonna have that on the menu. But I'm like, oh, well, this is olive oil. You know, I had like I bought imported San Marzano tomato, so it was like authentic, like somebody's like Sicilian grandmother's like marinara sauce, but it had the cannabis component, zero canna taste. But before I did the math, I'm like, well, since there's all these like tomatoes and crap, this might be like a little bit lower strength than usual. Not realizing it was like 60 grams. So I put it in these 4-ounce ramekins and sent myself into outer space. I'm like, okay, yeah, these can definitely get cut down to the 2-inch ramekins, but that's still what, like 120 milligrams.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know. I think they want me to have most of my stuff probably dosed at like maybe like 50 milligrams or so.
Well, the problem with edibles, and I want to comment on your drinks you brought last. I turned it down because I don't drink, remember? Because I was smart enough to ask you, and you told me,
infused cocktail.
I think
I'm gonna bring them out this year too, but what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna make, because I can make them without alcohol, but you know, just because I'm gonna be vending, and then whenever you do it, like once alcohol enters into the thing, then that's like different 3-letter alphabet groups you got to deal with. So it's like, yeah, we'll do some virgin coladas, but it'll still have a little bit of Irie in there.
Oh, nice. I don't remember if it was Tanazi that said it or his partner, but I was back there in their booth. You know how I am. I go in everybody's booth.
Rasufa is like the cup uncle. He's kind of like one of the uncles of the DGC.
So
it's Uncle
he's like, I'm so fucked up, man. I don't know what's going on. I'm totally fucked up. And I said, did you drink that drink? And it was right there on the table, and it was like almost gone.
The motherfucker's empty.
And I said, no, bro. That's got like a few shots of booze in it, because you told me
double shot,
2 shots, right? I said, yeah,
tequila and rum and cannabis.
And he's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, man, you just pounded 2 shots.
But you can't taste the alcohol or the fucking weed.
He's like, fuck. I was thirsty, man, and I just grabbed that thing and fucking drank it. You know, I was like, oh,
dude, Brett did the same thing. Brett did the same thing. But it was funny how I got Brett, because I want to say it was like the VIP party. He was riding around on the little gator thing that they got on the farm. Yeah. And he's kind of like in full dude mode. He's like leaned back, got a hat on. I had my cooler. So I just kind of walk up on him. I'm like, hey, dude, you look kind of thirsty. I can help you with that. It's like, oh, really? Like, he was like a little confused. And I'm like, here, try this. I handed him the drink. He's like, thanks, Cortez. I heard him talking about it later. He said he thought it was a CBD drink.
Are you listening, DGC? If you're watching, ask Cortez what he's giving you when he gives it to you, because a lot of people got drunk last year and didn't know they were going to drink some booze.
Well, I mean, it was full disclosure on everything.
Well, not if you don't disclose.
Yeah. So the Sunday of, what would that be? The one after Christmas or right about Christmas, whatever. The last Sunday of the month. We're not going to do a podcast that day, but I'm releasing last year's wing video in full that I dropped all the clips out of.
Yeah, I didn't get any of those wings. What was up with that? You tried to give me the liquor, but I didn't get to taste those wings.
Oh shit, you did miss. Yeah, I think you messaged me later like, bro, I didn't get to try any of those wings.
I love wings. I'm not supposed to eat any of that shit. I'm old.
I really wish you would have tried some so I could have had like a true ganjier right my sauce there.
You know, edibles is something that we really haven't gone deep on in training, but there is now in the Ganjier, they're doing product specialists classes. So I believe one of those is edibles.
Oh, nice.
I haven't looked into any of that product specialist stuff yet, because once I touch it, I got a certain amount of time to look at it all. And, you know, I'll just wait till I'm ready. I mean, I waited like 3 years to test, and they're all like, when you get a test, when you get a test, you know what I mean? Come on.
When I'm ready.
You're training other students and you don't even have certification yet. What the fuck, you know?
Get off me.
Like that guy that's been in college for 12 years.
Lives in the basement or something.
Yeah.
I just hate schoolwork, man. Took me a minute to get through that fucking...
More hands-on.
Man,
in there, roll your sleeves up a little bit.
Look, failure is the best way to learn something, really. Dig in there and fuck it up, and then you go, oh, that fucks it up, right?
Won't do that again.
You learn more through your failures than your wins, most
really. You know, and I don't like to hide that shit. I don't like only show my victories on IG. I show all my fuck ups and go, look, don't do that. Look what happened, you know? Or, you know, I've been on, like I was doing a podcast, and I don't know if you guys know who Spartan Grown is.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
I've heard that
girlfriend's
name.
coming on.
Russ was there, and he's like, oh yeah, you're not supposed to put that stuff in. I was using some lecithin in my oil, and I'm like, oh, and I dumped the whole fucking thing out before I put any, you know, product into it, so it was okay. It was just wasted oil. But I looked it up later, and it's to bond water and oil, not to bond my weed to the fat, or I don't know.
I use lecithin.
That's what I was gonna say. I call it less than thin because I have no idea how to say it.
Yeah, I have some. I don't use it too much, you know. People seem to be okay with it without it, but if I knew how to properly use it, I would, you know. It's moved away from sublinguals, really. A few people use them. I have this one kid who can't sleep, and his dad buys CBD sublingual from me, and the kid sleeps. So, you know, it's like, fuck, you can't deny that, you know.
I got some really strong green dragon. I got some tincture that I do the sublingual with sometimes, but that's definitely full strength.
Yeah, well, it all depends.
Full strength, and it's an extraction from 180 proof.
Oh, so you're doing that kind of thing. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. When you say sublingual, it makes me think tincture, but that's just my
it is tinctures.
To it.
So my tinctures are made with infusions, though, not extractions.
Oh. Yeah. So you do it the other way around.
I'm putting it into the oil. Yeah, you're pulling it out of the plant and then removing your 80, and then you have like basically RSO, right?
Yeah, kind of.
No, I don't go this. I don't go the extra step of the RSO because for what I could use my tincture, but I would have to like heat it and everything, and I'm not comfortable in my home, like heating 180 proof alcohol. So that's just not something.
Have you looked at Extract Craft at all?
I showed him the one machine that we have.
Yeah, I've seen it. I do everything with the magical butter machine. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm cool with what I have and just not doing RSO.
Right.
But like, so
That's
everything I make, I'm either doing like a 180 proof Everclear extraction. I'm doing coconut oil or I'm doing olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
But between those three extractions, bases, whatever you want to call it, all of my infusions come from those three starting points.
Right. I forgot that magical butter can do an extraction and an infusion. The reason I don't do it is because
I use it to do both. I use it to do both.
But you don't reclaim that 180, and that for me is like, that seems wasteful. Right. And that's what I love.
It's from my garbage anyways. So like I really try to not use shake. You know what I mean? Like just straight trim. So it's more like anything that I'm doing the extraction with, I'm going to use my larf. That stuff that's at the bottom of the plant when it's like about the end of like my trim session. And like I'm pretty much burnt out. So it's like the stuff that I'm like sliding off the stems rather than trimming it. But then just to add a little bit more oomph, I will sacrifice. So let's say I'm putting like an ounce of flour into the extraction that I'm about to do. I might do like a half ounce, 3/4 of an ounce of like that larf, but I'm still going to do between like 1/4 to 10 grams. Oh, you know, however much I choose to use.
Right,
but like, I'm going to throw fucking tops in there. You're like, what's a quarter of tops just to give myself like that much more huevos? You know what I mean?
I got you. I'm talking about the reclaim on your alcohol though. And chat's they're torn on this. Some don't like it, some do like it. Alex says it's just messy. And Chonky says reclaiming solvent is key. That's one of the things that I did like about the Extract Craft. I don't own one, and I missed sponsorship by them. They offered me one. I missed a sponsorship by them and fucking whoever else was that. Oh, the Pulse at the Cup. Scotty's like influencer, and they're like offering me sponsorships, and I had nothing growing at the time, and so I had to turn it down because I didn't want to take their shit and not show it, you know.
Right.
Then when I got back to them, they're like, "Huh? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Never mind, it's okay," you know. But I think I would probably look at an Extract Craft eventually because when I made edibles with my infused oil, it just wasn't strong enough for me.
Yeah.
Really?
So I was an edibles judge at CannaFest this year up in Eureka. And they sent me a box full of different edibles, you know, all the ones that
I might have to send you a box now, Rasufa.
And so do it.
Just so you know, I love people that say edibles don't work for me. Hey, come here, sit down for a second.
Well, it all
Try
depends on
this.
the person. Everybody's physiology is different, and everybody's liver process is different. And that's the key is that edibles have to go through your liver, right? So whether you have a healthy liver, you know, a sick liver, a highly functioning liver, a lowly functioning liver, or, you know, whatever, it could be different. Weight and body
You're
fat.
in the cannabis scene now, but you were drunk for 20 years.
Well, it could be. Body fat doesn't have as much to do with it as people think. It's not like, okay, I'm 220. It takes more to get me. That's not true.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's about 400 and some pounds, and he goes to the moon on just a little bit of edibles because the way his liver processes it, you know, like I made some.
I think it also depends too on if you've eaten for the day or not. Because like you know how like with alcohol, if you drink on an empty stomach, you're gonna like get white girl wasted way faster. It's actually the opposite on cannabis. If you have
want to have full belly
stomach, it's not really gonna. I don't even know what the word is.
That still
if you've
doesn't
already
really
eaten because it's like the fat is like helping the edible.
But that doesn't quite relate to your body fat, your body mass index.
No, but I'm saying from if you've eaten. I'm just saying.
So that's a good tip for everybody. Eat some food, have some fat in your system because it helps bind the cannabinoids to the fat. But your body mass index, your body shape, your body fat, none of that really matters. And you just got to ramp up. Start with 10, doesn't do it. Next time try 20. What you don't want to do is take some and then go, it's not working, take more, because it comes on at different times for all of us. Some people it's happen in an hour. Some people it takes 2 hours. Some of us were high for a minute. Some of us were high for hours. It's
Hours, yeah.
different. So edibles is not the same in any way for any two people, and nobody should take any kind of advice other than, hey, I like these. These taste good. Right. As far as
you can always eat more edibles, you can never eat less.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta dip your little pinky toe in the water before you go in for a swim.
To be adult and responsible and work our edibles to our minimum effective dose and then work it up to a maximum dose from there. Edibles especially.
Yeah.
Smoking weed, we all pretty much, I don't know. I'm a super heavyweight. I can smoke a lot of people. We all basically get the same kind of high,
Yeah.
Have you? Hey, let me ask you this, Rasufa. We were talking about tinctures a little while ago. Have you ever made like a dirty tincture and added a little bit of kava in there with your flower?
No. Is that the
they call it
What's
nature's Xanax?
What's kava?
Here,
isn't there pills, kava pills, and you can make a tea out of it and stuff? I think one of my girlfriend's son, he was a teenager, and they took like this big jar of kava they bought, and they made this drink, and they drank like the whole jar's worth, right? Mixed into this thing. And I'm reading it, and it's like, take a pill a day. And I'm like, you idiots. You just like 100 overdosed yourselves. So we had to go to the hospital and have
the stuff I was getting. It wasn't pills. It was like the actual raw kava powder. So I was just adding that in the magical butter machine with the flour. I was actually making it. So you know how like you can use, you're doing like extraction into 180 alcohol. You can lay out like on a cookie sheet, like sour candy that's covered in sugar and just kind of like drench the candy. I made some edible gummies that had the kava in it too. I had to go to work the next day, didn't try them, but like I brought some of them with me to work. I'm like, I can like eat these when I'm getting off and then, whatever. I ate one like right as I was punching out from my job. This thing kicked in like 30 minutes later. I was on the expressway and I felt like I got hit with the fucking lightning bolt in Mario Kart.
Dude, I hate that when it hits you while you're driving. It's like, oh man, really? The road's kind of disappearing.
Yeah, I know. Now I'm scared.
But I'm with Alicia. I don't exactly know what kava is. Can you break it down for us a little bit?
I'm actually looking here.
Is it a herb or?
So I'm pretty sure it's actually like a root from some type of plant.
CBD is your friend if you get too high. Yes, it is, Galaxy.
Yeah, because it'll take you the other direction, won't it?
So CBD, everybody knows about the ECS, right? The endocannabinoid system that's in our bodies, and we all have receptors, mainly the EC1 and EC2, but now they're finding many more throughout the body. Certain cannabinoids bond to the one, certain cannabinoids bond to the two, depending on whether they are psychoactive or cerebral or physical, right? Body-like. CBD sits outside of those receptors. It doesn't bond to them like cannabinoids do, other cannabinoids do. It sits on the outside and it regulates them to keep them balanced through your entire endocannabinoid system.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I've actually found what kava is here. They actually call it like nature's Xanax. It's like the root of some kind of plant. I'm trying to remember. I think it comes from like Fiji or like one of those islands like that. But in its raw form of the root, it's actually something that they use to do like certain type of like rituals, like almost like Native Americans do, you know what I mean? Where they take like fucking peyote and go into sweat lodges and whatnot. But this is actually something from like the islands, but it had in large enough doses, it has like sedative like effects. They say it's actually really close to like a benzo effect, but it's not a benzo, it's something that's natural, like it's the root of some type of plant.
Chonky, the answer to that is no. Can I give you a list of those cannabinoids that bond to the CB2? No, I'd have to look it up. But I'm sure if you Google it, you'll find that certain cannabinoids like the CB1 and some like the CB2. And now there's like, it's in the teens, I think. I'm not even really sure, but I know that they're finding more, and they're finding more cannabinoids. And they're finding more terpenes, which is like in the hundreds now. It's really,
I know.
Yeah. I wish I was prepared for that question. I would have looked something up to give a proper answer for that. But I'm sure you can find.
Had to look back through your notes.
It might be in there. I know that I've heard it because of the circles that I'm in a lot. You know, the ganjiers. Okay, look, I'm not. This is a very controversial thing for a lot of people. I'm not gonna tout the ganjier, and I'm not gonna badmouth the ganjier. This is something that I did as a personal growth during my life's journey. It wasn't to become some know-it-all weed guy or some snooty guy. That said,
some hipster with a man bun.
Yeah.
So that out there's a lot of that in the ganjier, right? I mean, and I got to be cool, and I have to represent us in a calmly.
It's like, shut up, Chad. But not Chad Westport, like straight up like Chad, you know, like the man bun Chad, you know what I mean? That fucking guy.
Okay, so like one of the biggest
the guy that wants to have an hour-long conversation with you about optimal VPD ranges.
Yeah, that is not going on in Ganjier.
Yeah, it's like I think you know that people.
I don't think I've heard.
You just want to strangle them.
I don't think I've heard that brought up in any conversation with any ganjier. And I'll tell you why. Because outdoor is the focus. Really? Like indoor isn't. The only guy that really talks about indoor is Jodri, right? Because he wants to know how his outdoor stuff is going to happen indoor. But they all grow outdoor. And frankly, terroir is, well, yeah. And everything we look at is mostly outdoor. And all my connections when I buy from up there comes from outdoor farms. Or I'll go visit a farm and get some, you know. The sun and the elements create stronger and more unique terpene profiles. It's that simple. And it's all about terpene.
Yeah, spicy plants that are like 7 feet tall. Like they just love it. They eat it up.
Yeah,
and it's that like Mendo Dope kind of stuff.
Mendo Dope is an outdoor farm up there. Those guys grow fucking fire. Everybody up there grows fire. From Mendo,
they grow such huge plants, though.
My last trip up there, when I did the edible judging, it was quite a 2 weeks, week and a half, whatever it was. So I went up. I went and hung out with Dirk from Lost Coast Plant Therapy at his place out on the Lost Coast.
I met Dirk at the Cup this last year that passed. He's a really
great guy. Amazing house, amazing spot to just chill and get stoned. It was fucking incredible.
He actually let me shoot some content with him. I still got it on my Instagram where he's kind of explaining like the origins of stuff and how he came up with it up in the mountains of Humble.
If you would like him to be on your podcast, I'm kind of his podcast pimp. And I'll get him. Yeah. He's on everything because of me. Like, so we became friends before he was part of the DGC, right?
Right.
I was using his product when no indoor guys.
That's what I use.
Yeah. And so I was like, hey, bro, I use your stuff. It's really great, you know, and I like to tout it on some podcasts. You got any swag to give away? And he gives me these hats and all this shit, right? So I'm like,
Me and my wife got one. We got matching Lost Coast hats.
He threw shit on me. I mean, like a lot of shit. And so I was like, this dude's super generous. And I usually do like a homeless relief effort at Christmas because celebrating really cool. Christmas with my family is not my favorite thing. So I prefer to go help people. I don't really show it and I don't talk about it. I only talk about this one because so many people in the cannabis community helped. I had reached out to Dirk, who gave me like, anyway, I asked him. So I got stuff from Dirk, Bovida, the Resonator, like some cannabis people really threw shit at me. But Dirk in particular, he's like, I want to give you $1,000 because I reached out to him. I said, hey, you're really generous. Can you give me some of those hats for this homeless relief thing? He's like, how about I give you $1,000 and you can pass that money out to them? And I'm like, wow, that is super generous. But I can't walk around handing out 20s to homeless people. Yeah. Because someone will get killed out there. You know, somebody's going to beat somebody up for their green. So
it might be you that gets stabbed for that whole stack of 20s.
It's always a worry, but I'm usually the biggest dude out there. You know what I mean? So I'm not, I don't.
So you got a Venezuelan sneak up behind you.
You can live this life scared, or you can walk around with your head up and just fit in where you can. You know, like when I went to New York, there's this group of black dudes on the street jive turkeys and, you know, making a scene. Hey, man, you can buy a CD, buy a CD.
Oh, yeah.
My whole party walks past them, and I'm like, what's up, bro? What you got? You know, and I knew I didn't want to listen to what he had, but they were hustling. So I was like, cool, yeah, what the fuck you got? And they're like, hey, thanks for fucking not being afraid of a bunch of black dudes. I said, dude, I'm around Oakland all the time. I mean, you know, what the fuck? We're both on this planet, brother. You know, and I'm like, what you got?
Nothing
so I bought some stupid CD for $20 that I've never listened to, but we're still friends on
too.
You know, they were probably trying to hustle me, but they didn't. You know what I mean? And like my girlfriend dragged me away because like I'm pulling out some money for them, you know, but I wasn't scared because I'm not some little guy that's, you know, you're gonna have an easy mark on. You know what I mean?
Rasufa is a pretty big guy.
It'll take a little work. I'm old now, so it won't take as much work, but you know. But anyway, I'm still friends with that guy on IG, and we talk every now and then. We don't really talk. We follow each other.
Nice fresh harvest here.
He sells grabba, whatever that is. It's some kind of tobacco thing. Grabba. You guys ever heard of that?
I'm not sure if I know what that is.
He's a street hustler. You know what I mean? And then he's always supporting his kids' basketball team with uniforms and shit, but he ain't talking about where that money comes from and stuff. You know, whatever. It's
none of my business.
No
that
problem.
Would be really cool though, Rasufa.
Where you at, bro?
We could work on getting Dirk on. Because I actually got on my Instagram, I got this like little, maybe like 60-second reel that I shot with him, where he's just kind of doing like the elevator pitch of like the origins of Lost Coast and everything.
Yeah,
it'd be cool to work with him again and get him on.
Oh, dude, he's got stories, you know. And it's funny, I got away from we were talking about that because of my ADHD, but whatever.
Oh no, it's all good.
So I reached out to him. Instead of $1,000, he sent me like 60 hats, 60 pairs of gloves, a bunch of solar blankets and shit, and like really filled the bags. And we became buddies instantly. So down the road a couple years, you know, and I'd seen him at events. I always go look him up. And we get our hugs in, and what you doing? How's the family? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey man, I'm on a lot of podcasts. You know, and I mention you a lot, and nobody really knows about you out there in the indoor growing community. I'm like, would you be interested in getting on some of these my friends' casts? You know, and he's like, sure. Boom, got him on DGC. Boom, put him on Canada. Well, I got him.
Yeah, no, he's got like a DGC pros code and everything. And Dirk is a really generous guy. Like, if anybody wants to try the Lost Coast, you can literally go to the website and he gives out, I think it's like a 2 or 4 ounce sample bottle, so you can try it.
I give him out.
If anybody did want to try out the Lost Coast, all you gotta do is go to the website to try.
Yeah. And so
I
he was
believe when I was talking to him,
on.
he told me that he originally like kind of came up with the project just to deal with like outdoor powdery mildew. But then
Correct.
after he was kind of like working on it, he figured out like how much of an IPM it kept pests away and all the other benefits on top of the PM spray.
It
Because
almost
it really is an all-in-one.
it almost didn't happen though. So it was something that he created, and he was using it because Dirk was a weed grower back in the
Yeah.
day. He doesn't grow anymore.
Old school.
He doesn't anymore because his business is so huge. They're on 5 continents with that, and that stuff grows. That stuff protects farms all over the world. So
Yeah.
he can't jeopardize that with any kind of growth. But everybody knows Dirk,
right.
so he's never without. You know what I'm saying?
But it
Yeah.
started up in the mountains of Humble back in the glory days, right, Rasufa?
So he wasn't going to push it. He's like, cool, it works. I'm happy to grow my weed. His son, Bree, said, no, man, this is too good. We got to roll with this. Bree then took all his money and invested it into Lost Coast to create the company. And now they all work there. It's a family operation. There are people that aren't family that work there, but they're all wonderful. Dirk's wife, Debbie, is just fantastic.
And then I met another guy that was really cool too. That was with them. I think his name's like Matt Weingard or something like that.
It could be one of their guys.
I follow him on Instagram still.
Oh, cool. I'll have to look him up. Yeah. So the Lost Coast Instagram, you won't really get a hold of Bird. You'll get a hold of
I think it's his daughter because I've talked to him through the page.
Chloe?
I believe it's the daughter that runs the
Chloe.
page.
I think it's Chloe.
That sounds familiar. I think it is Chloe, but
yeah, and she's really sweet too. But any real questions you got to ask, go to the website. You know,
yeah.
Okay.
Attention, Dirk, and I'm sure he'll get back to you at some. He's a real super nice guy. But we've been great friends ever since, and I've got him on a bunch of podcasts now. So like, it won't even be a thing, bro. If you want him, I'll just send him a message.
Yeah, please.
And then once he says yes, I'll put you guys together and you work it out from there.
Hell yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not like.
Yeah.
Right. Like I kind of remove myself from the scheduling as well. So that's between Alicia and my wife. But it's pretty good because even if Alicia doesn't remember, my wife does. If my wife doesn't remember, Alicia does. And then Alicia can send my wife to come slap me in the back of the head with a sandal to come remind me. So like I can never forget anything whether I want to or not.
So
there's a reason I'm not in charge of scheduling though. I'm going to be.
No, I get it, bro. I get it. So I'll just put him in touch with you, Alicia.
That works. I mean, either or.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's everybody smoking? We haven't even asked.
So I actually got a fresh harvest. I started taking down some of these fast buds, but they're not auto flowers. This is actually the first fast buds photo feminized line that they've came out with. So it's not auto flowers, they're not fast flowers, zero ruderellus, they're just legitimate feminized photo period. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess they put out 5 different strains now. So I guess they kind of they wanted to like get more people in the community because they're kind of like lesser known now. So Heather, the sales rep, sent them out to me and like begged me, like, can you please grow the you can tell they want to get more pictures on the website.
I love that. I love the way people are like, really. What's that, Alicia?
I said his Fast Buds 420, they turned out really nice, very frosty.
I
mean, we've grown them from seed, so there's some that turned out a little bit better than others, but that's always kind of the thing with seed. You're rolling the dice a little bit.
Absolutely.
Hoping to hit the pheno lottery, you know?
Well, and there's a funny thing about that. So a lot of people like to hunt the F2, right? Because that's really going to open up all of the possible genetic probabilities, right? Because if you cross the first time and you have what we call F1 for lack of a better term. It's not truly an F1 because we're not using true breeding parents anymore. We're using polyhybrids. I won't get into that long argument. But let's call it F1, F2 for the sake of argument.
Right.
If you take two F1s and you slap them together, we know that creates an F2, right? In the F1 population, you're going to see some parents, and I'm sure people have heard Ross and Jeff talk about this. You'll see some parents, you'll see some representations of the mother, and you'll see some mixes and a few other outliers. Once you hit two F1s together and create that F2 progeny, you're going to see a lot of grandparents' genetics, past great-grandparents' genetics, and open up the possibilities a lot.
It's kind of like Pandora's box.
That's the one people like to hunt because there are so many variants out there.
Yeah.
Problem with an F2 is the vigor of an F2 is markedly less than the vigor from an F1 crossing. So if you want to grow a plant that's going to grow faster and bigger and stronger and be more healthy and resistant, F1 is what you really want to do. You're not going to have as many to look through, but the first cross gives you the most vigor, right? And we're actually going to not really have a ton of vigor because once again, we're dealing with polyhybrid to polyhybrid. And for those that don't know what a polyhybrid is, that is simply a hybrid to a hybrid creates a polyhybrid. A landrace to a landrace creates a hybrid. Two hybrids create a polyhybrid, which is why everything is.
Oh, you just taught me something new.
Yeah, I have no idea.
So everything out there is a polyhybrid.
Yeah,
they say hybrid
at
on
this
everything,
point.
but it's bullshit. They say indica, sativa, hybrid, all that shit is fucking.
Unless
bullshit.
you're getting something that's like a true land race.
Which
But I don't know, man. Like,
especially
if I'm gonna run some like photo periods, I'll just as soon run some clones. Give me some proven cuts. I'd rather just start from the beginning with guaranteed winners. You know what I mean?
But you're a grower, so somebody that wants to chuck some pollen is going to have a different situation, right? They're going to want to look through. Like me back in that.
Yeah, because it's like I don't want to waste the space and then not get the yield. That's going to start to eat into my bottom line. You know what I mean?
Paloma that I just finger trimmed up. It's been in. This is from last year. This has been
down to my last couple grams of Paloma, but I got a little bit
been in
right
the
now
for a year. I'm so lazy. I know a ton of stuff, but I'm one of the laziest growers, processors in the fucking world. I have tons of shit to make more salve, more lotion, more everything, and it's just sitting there right now.
That Paloma's truly a mind melter.
I like it. I do like it.
Yeah.
It checks a lot of boxes for me, you know.
Like putting your brain in the blender.
Like I don't sweat light leaks too much because it's too much of a hassle for me because of where I grow in a shed. I have tents where some flaps might be open for heat reasons, but the minute I open the door, which is southern exposure, light floods that fucking room, right? So I have like blackout cloths in front of the tents, but shit still gets in there somehow. You know?
If something is gonna herm from a light leak, I don't want that in my grow. Like honestly,
I pretty much see
sometimes I'll do stuff like that on purpose, especially if it's like a cut that I haven't really run before. I'll kind of like stress test it just to see like if I see like even the slightest sign of intersexual traits, that one's gone.
Well, Paloma's got it. I don't know where.
Really?
Yeah. Most everything.
Never run into any trouble with it.
I have a little bag around here somewhere with about, I don't know, 15 seeds off my last run. Just like everyone, and then one would pop up, you know, and so I guess you would call them cherry real if you're going with big words name for them, right? They're the herb seeds off of Paloma. Whatever. Look, I'm not gonna say anybody's shit is herm weed because it's all herm weed. This plant naturally on its own, landrace variety. If it is denied a male for long enough, that female's
if you let anything go long, it's gonna seed itself.
It's going to. And almost all of these polys.
Autoflower's a little bit faster once you start to hit into the 80 and 90 day ranges, especially like it hit 100 days on an autoflower, you're going to find at least a handful of seeds.
Yeah. It's a dioecious species. It needs to have a male and a female, and it's going to figure it out. You know, and if you go back to the 80s and look at, and I hate to say this, and I'm probably going to get some hate for this, but you look at OG Kush that came over from Florida, stopped in Texas and became headband, and then got here and became OG Kush in LA. That cultivar has a herm trait. Okay. And it's in fucking everything.
Yeah.
They started crossing it to everything because the THC numbers shot up with OG Kush. And
Once people smell that gas, you know what I mean?
That and over 25% THC. And it just drove it. It drove it. And, you know, if you trace the lineage of just about everything out there, way back, there's going to be some OG Kush in there, or maybe even some headband. You know?
They were big.
So
were you growing back then, Rasufa, in the 80s?
No. I was in high school.
Yeah, you're not that old.
I tried.
When did you kind of like start to get your feet wet and kind of like dibble and dabble into cultivation?
So I tried to grow a plant. Let's see, I was 15, so that would have been about 84. In my closet under the light that was in there that I turned on and off.
Right.
Particular, and didn't know how to feed it or water it, and it didn't do well. Right? You know, I mean, a couple times in my life, I popped seeds to see what happened. They died. In the early 2000s, maybe 2002, 2003, I lived next town over from here, and my roommate had moved out. And did he move out, or was that before he got there? I think he had moved out. I don't know. Anyway, I decided to start growing in the spare room. Right. And I did.
Everybody needs a spare weed room.
So I ran HID, high intensity discharge, and I switched from metal halide in veg to high pressure sodium and flower. And in my 2x8 closet, I had it split into 3 zones. I had a big shelf I built right in the middle of it. So the top 4 feet was growing 2 2x4 ebb and flow trays, and those grew under T5 LED high output LEDs.
Yeah.
It did okay. Underneath was split in half. So 4x2 was clone zone. 4x2 was some mamas that were in there. And then, you know, that was all sealed off. And then the doors went over that. And in the main room was 2 4x4 trays up on a table with 2,000 waters over them. In total,
1,000 watt HPS, no less. You were in it to win it.
I was in it to win it. And fucking A, did it produce. I mean, and we're talking.
What were you getting back then? About a pound of light?
Yeah, maybe more. Maybe more. Yeah. You know, it depended on the cultivar and how many I put in there. You know, because you could really jam a lot of cubes in there if you wanted, but they got crowded. I found like 9 to be my magic number, especially with like a chunky plant. You know, if it was
that way, you're not getting like that larf because you're not getting like proper light penetration and everything.
Right. And, you know, other things like hiding bugs and you can't get in there. Airflow.
Microclimates.
Yeah. You got to have airflow, man, especially down low. It's the most important, you know. I mean, you want to
unless you want to deal with some powdery mildew.
Yeah.
Bugs. The majority of the bugs are flying down low and they're going to land in your soil or around your trunk, you know. So
that's why you should definitely be using that Lost Coast on a weekly basis.
Yeah, that's I say.
I hate to even talk IPM because, like I said, I'm super bad, right? So, like, I don't do a regular IPM because and I gotta knock on wood every time I say this. My pest pressure is not that intense.
I don't do it as often as I should, but I make sure I do it at least once a month.
Well, I just don't get that kind of shit. Like in my grow, I don't get spider. I didn't when I first started up in the LED game. With a partner that I was training, and she kept bringing in clones and other people's saviors, and like
Yeah.
I'd come back.
That's how I ended up with spider mites as well as powdery mildew
Yeah.
from taking in claws.
russet mites, spider mites. I was like, oh, you're killing me. Anyway, I learned how to fight russet mites and spider mites, so shit.
Still winning.
So anyway, that became untenable. 1,000-watt light costs you about $200 a month to run. Back then, it's probably more now. So I had 2 of those. So my power bill was like $5-6 a month, and then I'm renting out that room. Or I'm losing the rent on that room at $650 a month. Back then is what it was, and so I'm looking at, and I had to run 2.5 months to get a full crop, and then I had to dry it and cure it. So you're looking at over 3 months. So I'm popping
about 3-4 months,
$4,000, for a crop. And if I don't pull down 2 fat pounds that I can get $3,000 for, at that time, that was high, $3,000. It wasn't $6,000 anymore, I couldn't do it.
By the time they came out to Chicago, they were going for like 36, 38. I remember the days where pounds dropped down to 33.50 and everybody was excited.
Yeah. Well, it just happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they could squeeze me. So I was part of a co-op. There was about 300 of us locally that were in this, and you could grow and you could take it there and sell it to your fellow co-op members, or you could buy from those growers. I did both. But at some point they've got you by the short and curlies, and they can just go, we're kind of full. We got a lot of stuff. I'll give you 2,500, or I'll give you 2. And then I'm like, that's my whole nut. I've made no profit.
Cash in hand. Do you want it or not?
I don't even get smoke off that. You know what I mean? So I quit doing it. And boy, it grew like gangbusters, man. You can really steer an ebb and flow tray with a reservoir on synthetic nutrients and high intensity discharge lights. You can make that shit explode. I vegged for 3
salts.
I vegged for 3 weeks, and I had 5-foot plants. Boom. They just fucking took off, But yeah, massive nutrients, massive light. It's going to happen that way. And that was in a room, which is a lot easier to deal with. I started growing again. I helped a bunch of people outdoors with stuff, transferring indoor knowledge to outdoor knowledge somewhat successfully. Basic
Mixed
knowledge.
results.
Yeah, Hey, here's what
not
we did
everything crosses over.
Yeah, I started growing indoor. Well, I started growing outdoor again about, I don't know, what was it, 5 or 6 years ago when we had all the fires in California, and had 2 really tough years in a row because the skies blacked out and we had all this smoke and the light was fucked up. All the plants freaked out. They were covered with ash. It was almost like a terrible welcome back that made me just almost want to say, fuck this, But the spot I was doing it at was because of this chick that wanted to learn. She had never smoked. I had rented her garage for storage because I had just moved in with this girlfriend. So she's like, don't tell my daughters, but I want to learn about some weed. And so we started growing some in her yard, 6 plants, which I quickly got her up to like 9 or 12. And I'm like, hey, there anyways, what are they going to do? Yeah. And eventually she's like, well, that girl moved out of that room. Do you want to use that room? And I was like, it's on like Donkey Kong, Yep. So I just kept acquiring shit. And within a couple months, I had that room with like 2 tents and a mother zone and a clone zone and a veg and a flower and ducting going all over and fans and air conditioners and like decked out, right? And because indoors is my game, right? So the difference was it was LED and tents, which was massively different than a room and high intensity discharge lights. Yeah. Massively different. Temperatures.
What were some of the differences you noticed?
Well, so like with an HPS, your room is going to be hanging around 78 degrees, 80 tops, because your leaf surface temperature off of a high intensity discharge is going to go through the roof, right? Where with an LED, and the dude actually taught me this, or a DGC episode taught me this. I was a new LED grower, which is how I got into you guys. So leaf surface temperature under an LED is different, which is why we can get up to like 85 degrees using LEDs and still keep that leaf surface temperature at like 80 and okay, you know,
Right.
which also allows us a higher temperature, also allows you to increase humidity and keep your VPD in range. So it gives you a little room, you know, if you're in a spot like you, Alicia, back east where you got high humidity that you're battling.
Yeah.
I believe you want the high humidity with the high. See, I haven't looked at a VPD chart in a year.
I've never even tried to learn what that is.
So a vapor pressure deficit is actually beneficial. It really does help your plants grow well, and it keeps your water pressure better. You know, it keeps your plants praying more. But fuck, I've grown plants that are fucking saggy and looking terrible all the way to term, and still got great life off them.
Well, you know what though? Like with me personally though, like I mean, I know my equipment, like I just have my regiment that like I don't experiment with things. I don't try stuff that's new. Like, I don't know. It's more of like a military operation, like have protocols, SOPs in place. So I can walk in my room and just look at different things. Like I don't need to know about PPFD or whatever that PAR is, because like I can just look at my leaves. Are they tacoing down? Are they praying? Like I just know to look at different things when I'm in my room that I make my adjustments from there.
So those are two different things. And I wish I could do that. I wish I could be like you, because I am constantly changing, right? So in my mind, I have to go, I change this, and this. What can those different things change? And then when shit's fucking up, go, it's probably that, you know?
Yeah,
what I mean? And a lot of it is because people send me shit all the time.
I'm just such, I don't know. I'm just such a creature of habit that I don't know. It's almost like I feel if I do it a different way, other than what's my like little regiment, I'm doing it wrong.
Well, so I was a salt guy, right? But I wanted to try grow dots because Scotty wanted me to try grow dots. So I had those going with some other salts. And then I had, you know, and then now I'm growing with some bioag. I'm trying that because my friend Josh from bioag's like, hey, will you try my stuff? And of course I'm going to, it's organic. So I'm kind of digging that. You know, HLG sponsored me. So my lights changed, you know what I mean? And things change, bro. You know, you get new equipment and things change. Upgrade to an AC Infinity. Now we got new parameters. Things are just constantly, they're never the same for me. And it's because I'm this ADHD, never satisfied kind of dude, you know, which is kind of what. Go ahead, Alicia.
I didn't know HLG had sponsored anybody. You're pretty lucky.
HLG makes some really good lights.
They approached me.
They're the best.
They're at the Cup every year. You can meet them if you come out, Alicia.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Well, so like I was there, what was it, 22? And we didn't have a tent yet. Was that 22, Cortez? I think it was 22 when we didn't have a tent.
So I wasn't there that year. I've been there 23 and 24 that I've actually gone in person. So and then I'm definitely going this year. I'm going to be.
We didn't have a tent. And I'm walking around with Sunny. And I forget what her costume was. I think she was a cowboy.
Oh, that was the year it was really hot, right?
Yeah.
People said it was, you guys were like baking out there and there was no tent. So that would have been 22. That was 22. Yeah.
And so she had some water pistols and she's walking around squirting everybody and everybody's mad at her, right? So she's hanging out with me going like, everyone's mad because I got them wet. And I'm like, well, stop squirting people, you dummy. Come on, let's go. And so we're walking around and I walk up to HLG's booth and they've got like some Fisker type scissors and a little hash grater thing, you know, swag.
Yeah.
They were just giving out free water bottles last year. That was pretty huge.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And so I was grabbing swag and I'm like, what are you guys getting into, the scissor game? And it was Mike, you know, and he's like, "No, man." And I'm like, "We all know what you guys do." And he's going, "Yeah, how you doing, Rasufa?" And I'm like, "You know who I am?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I know who you are." And I'm like, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah. What kind of lights are you using?" I was like, "What? Viper Spectra?" He's like, "You think you might want to try using our lights?" And I'm like, "Dude, I can't afford your lights." He's like, "No, no, 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 no. Let's do a sponsorship. I'm gonna give you some lights, and let's talk about what you want." And he's like, "Do you want 350s? Do you want an 8-foot setup? You want?" I'm like, "Well, I do it 4x8, but it's probably going to turn into 2 4x4, so I can create different zones." You know,
Right,
because
right,
I
right.
want
Do
to
you got
test.
that wall you can put up in the middle?
Yeah, but that's not going to work.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
because I want to create different zones. I've got 3 tents now that are going to allow me, when I start to run my beans, to test fucked up lights, fucked up food in another one, fucked up humidity in another one, right? And try to make everything herm out so I can see what does, and I expect it all to, but if it's light, I'll sift through it and hunt up the one that does it the least and move forward with that, and just tell people, look, I've seen them. Don't buy it if you don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The weed's fire, but you might get a bean here or there. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
that guy that's going to devote my life to breeding. I've already decided that that's not where I'm at.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I have some stuff though that, like, honestly, because I like to push my stuff for long enough. Because, like, if it's a sativa, it's kind of like my own special personal batch that I'll kind of have. So, like, for a sativa, I'll like let one go a little bit longer so I get more of like the narcotic like effect, more of like the couch lock, sleepy time type of thing.
Always.
Or I'm also a big fan of sativas, but weed is situational for what you kind of pick out of like the arsenal. But like as far as like a sativa, like I kind of like something where I get like a little scared and it's got me like sweating a little bit sometimes. So like there'll be times I'll even like let sativas go longer than like the breeder recommendations just to bring out that like fear and loathing, like that paranoia weed. Something that might give you like a panic attack in like the home goods section over there at the Target, you know what I mean?
Potentially some THCV, which shows up later in some sativa varieties, but they have to be THCV specific, like Durban.
Nice racy sativa.
Yeah, like Malawi's and Durbans. Personally, that's like my favorite sativa ever is a Durban poison.
I just had some Durban recently, but it was in some diamonds.
If it was Durban, it's really hard to get, it's super hard to get anything that's actually a land race anymore.
Right. It said Durban. I actually got that from the dispensary.
Oh, there's tons of it out there that says Durban.
Oh, yeah.
There's
Oh, yeah.
That says OG this, that, or mince this, or animal that, or whatever, dude. Cherry this.
Especially if you're buying some type of like some of those European breeders that kind of just white label the hell out of their shit. Like, oh yeah, this is Blue Dream, this is Sour Diesel.
Yep.
But it's just like garbage.
Yep.
It's like, okay, so half of these didn't pop, couple of them hermed. Even this one that was like the best one out of the bunch, it's like what, maybe like 15% THC. It's like, what the fuck is this? I think that actually kind of turns some people off, like newer growers off to growing, because a lot of times when people first get their setup, they're picking out what lights they want, their 10, everything, and then they start to get like their genetics and stuff. They'll kind of be like sold by the stuff that they used to smoke. So like even for me, it's like, what do you mean from a grower's choice? If I get Blue Dream, it's not the Blue Dream that I was smoking back in fucking high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's not really the translation, but that's before people learn about like phenotypes too. So it's like, even if you have this strain, it's not gonna be that exact one.
Right.
I probably wasted like 1,500, $2,000 in seeds before I figured that one out myself. But what were we saying about learning more from our failures?
Well, yeah, right. I think there's another factor in that too that comes not from deceit. like a white labeling situation where they're just going to white label shit and tell you whatever it is just to get your money. There's a lot of situations where it has happened at our level from grower to grower, low level guy to low level guy, not necessarily on a breeder level. This person may think they actually have this because somebody gave them something and told them.
Right.
And then they give it to somebody
This
else.
is the Josh D cut, man.
Exactly. And especially between the West Coast and the East Coast, there's a lot of discrepancies about what's a D and what's a chem, or a sour D or whatever, it's almost regional.
Yeah.
This is what
it really is regional by taste.
Yeah, and it happened accidentally.
New York, though, up there by Alicia, they got like a lot of those like diesels, a lot of the sours, some of the
New York City,
piffs, the cat piss, like Alaskan thunderfuck kind of terp.
Nobody can beat the New York City D, in my opinion. And I'm not a gas guy. I'm mostly a fruity guy. And I grew up in the gas era. I mean, I started smoking weed in 1978.
Damn.
So I smoked land races before I even knew what that meant, right?
Yeah.
Some of that true roadkill skunk.
Dude, I was in elementary school. We all smoked weed in the Bay Area as little kids. And there was always some scumbag with a glad bag full of joints willing to sell a joint for $1 to a little kid. So we smoked shit. We had it. And if we stole it from our parents, that's where we would get the good shit, because our parents started buying sativas eventually. I mean, Sensimilla eventually. So everything had seeds back in the day, right? Yeah. You could buy a lid, which was an ounce, or a 4-finger bag, which soon became $40, but a lid was $10. And you'd get half of it with seeds. You'd put it on a double record.
Exactly.
Right. And then get the seeds out, or a shoe box. And you could roll a bag of joints. And if you sold 11 joints, the rest of that was yours and you had $1. You know what I mean? So it was like, but that was usually.
Did you know it was actually Carlos Rafa Quintero that kind of really pushed that Sensimilla movement through some of his other downfalls and maybe personality traits, we'll call it.
Yeah.
One of the things that he did do was he was kind of, some people consider him to be like the grandfather of Sensimilla.
Yeah. So back then, I'm like 9 or 10. I had heard Sensi, but me and most of the adult smoking community thought it was a type of strain, which is an improper term for cannabis. A cultivar is really what we should be calling it. But a cultivated variety is really what it is. A strain is a virus. It's an illness. But anyway, apart from that, we all thought Sensimilla, we didn't know it was Latin. Only the smart people did, for without seeds. We thought it was like a type of weed. Eventually, we discovered that it was several different kinds of weed. And then, you're getting the Colombian red hair, Acapulco gold. You get Colombian gold. You'd get Maui Wowie. You'd get lamb's breath. You'd get ties. The fucking ties were my favorite, even though they didn't have the best flavors. The fucking high off of like Buddha tie.
Isn't that where some of the chocolate flavors come from? Is from some of the ties?
The chocolatiest weed I ever smoked in my life. It smelled like shit when we got it.
Give you diabetes.
I think I was about 13 when we smoked that. So 12 or 13. So I was like 6th grade, 7th grade, and we used to buy it from my buddy's older brother who was in high school. We'd give him our money and he'd go get it. This is well after land races were dominant and the crosses were going on.
So he's probably buying it for you guys, but pinching the hell out of your bag before he gave it back to you.
Every time. You couldn't do shit. He beat you up too, right? So, I mean, you just took whatever you got. We're all out lunch money. We got a little weed to smoke. But anyway.
Here's your weed, nerd.
We got it and we're like really mad because it was like super dirty brown. And we're like, what is this Mexican weed, man? Because we knew enough at that point to know what Mexican was. Right. We smell it. It's all dirty smelling. And he's like, no, man, trust me. And we're like, whatever. And then my buddy brings it to us and we're like, fuck your brother, man. That's some boofy. We didn't know boof, but that's some garbage. Dirt weed, man. Dirt weed. Fucking let's smoke it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Look, we were so high, just like a giggling room of 13-year-olds
Yeah.
bouncing off the
That's the best.
furniture. And it was always at my house because my younger brother is 8 years younger than me, and his mom got booted out of the house. So I had to take care of him. So he was always with me. So we got this 5-year-old, and I have to like kick him out of the room a lot. But there's all these 13-year-olds at my house because I got to watch a fucking 5-year-old. And that happened all the way through high school. We'd get parties at my house. I'd get in trouble. I remember the first time my little brother caught a contact high.
We used to have parties at my house, kind of the same thing, but only difference was as long as you like smoke some weed with my mom and got her high, she'd leave us alone.
Excuse me.
So that was always the trick.
So both my parents were stoners. I don't know what they expected to happen. My family was not very careful about substances. Like they were all alkies, not my dad's side. Not over there at all. My mom's side, a bunch of Portuguese and Hawaiians, drinking. And that's it. They're like Portuguese. There's nothing else in there. They're fucking loud, obnoxious, drinky breeders. Oh, fuck. Are you kidding me? The first reunion I went to when I got back down here had like 350 people. And that's just my mom's side.
Yeah.
That is my dad's side. Wow. Nothing to do with my dad. It's 1/4 of my family.
Yeah.
My grandma had 9 kids. So I have, like with my mom, it's like 9 from that generation. I have 32 first cousins.
And that's good that you all know each other. Like me and all my, what will be now like second and third cousins and stuff. We don't really know each other. So the reunions have died out, right? Because when I got here, a bunch of my grandmother's generation was still alive. There was 18 kids, right? 19, but one died at birth. So there was 18.
Right.
There was my grandmother and 17 great uncles and aunts.
There's always those stories though, because I'm pretty sure like my grandmother had 9 kids. She was one of 13, but she had like siblings that didn't make it out of childhood. Like I actually got like paperwork from like the ancestry thing my mom sent me. And like, I know my grandmother had a sister that died in a barn fire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a couple of those did die young.
Yeah.
But one died at birth. But
the flu took him through the night. The fever.
Exactly. Yeah, crazy shit. Yeah, crazy shit. And they get killed in accidents too, I'm sure.
Right.
That was farm time, back then.
Yeah.
I come from farmers.
Yeah. And the crazy thing,
Austrian from my mom's side.
I knew that woman. She lived to be like 104. So I met her. She was alive until I was like 10 or something like that. Right. And I've actually done a 4-generation session with my family where my grandfather, my mother, me and my brother and his daughters, my daughter wasn't there that time, we're all smoking at my grandpa's house.
Oh,
so
how cool.
That's cool.
Not a lot of people could say a 4-generation puff session.
Yeah.
My weed, of course.
It's got to be.
I brought to the party, of course.
Yes.
But,
here's my contribution.
Yeah. But those are good times, Shit. So what else we got to talk about? We were going to talk about the Levo and the magical butter, and I'm starting to lean towards. So I've been making everything with the magical butter because it's so damn easy, as you know, Cortez.
Yeah, it's like ding, fries are done. It's like you're working at McDonald's,
right? Like faster than you can cook and eat dinner, but it's dirty. It is like a milkshake thing, and it chops up all that weed, and there's a lot of material. So your shit comes out really green and a little cloudy. The Levo 2 gives you a super clear product. Now, if you use it according to the warranty, you use it in pods. Yeah. So I'm not sure how well it actually goes through the pod holes and then takes the material off of that product and then back out the pod holes and infuses it into that oil. People say it works for them. I've used it. I'm thinking I'm going to go back to that for my tinctures because it's so much clearer and has less chlorophyll flavor.
Yeah. Yeah.
cannabinoid flavor or cannabis flavor, not really cannabinoid flavor. I don't know. It's what to call that, but the weed flavor, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Taste.
really dominant
What I call
in
it.
magical butter. And then just use the magical
Well,
butter. From the
I
top.
never made, like, I've actually never made butter in my magical butter machine, though.
Me either. I've yet to because I don't need
Yet
to.
to make the butter.
I mean, like
I've never really had an application that like absolutely called for it. Like, so at first, like
actually,
I only learned how to make tincture. So like everything I made would be out of tincture, but then I got more, I don't know, I guess I just kind of experimented more and got like more into the coconut oil and seen that that was like way more versatile on like what I could use it for. But I probably bought that machine like 4 or 5 years ago. Like sometimes I'm kind of looking at it like, damn, this thing's like still going strong, but it's probably gonna break one day. So like as far as like all the stuff I know how to do like that, it's from the machine I bought like 4 or 5 years. That's all I know. You know,
you're talking MCT oil is what you're talking about. If you're talking about a tincture.
No, if I do tincture, it's 180 Everclear. I don't do MCT oil, but the brand of coconut oil that I like to use is high in MCT, but it's just because it's unrefined coconut.
Right, but once it's MCT, it's more liquefied.
Yeah, it's a liquid.
So
well, I guess it's the levels that's in the one that I buy. Like I don't know, I get it off Amazon. I would have to look, but
So
it has like 30% of the oil is actually MCT, but it's coconut oil.
So real quick, I was wrong. I did do butter once in my Levo. And
I made butter in the Levo.
I get it from my JR now. His butter's
I got some of that in the fridge.
Beautiful. So, but anyway,
you'll be high for like 3 days off that shit.
Why did I go back to that? What were we talking about right before that? Oils.
Yeah.
I actually infuse a solid coconut oil, MCT coconut oil, olive oil, vegetable oil, grapeseed oil, and shea butter.
Shea butter. I just threw some shea butter in the topical that I made.
For lotion. I use shea butter for lotion.
Yeah. That's what I made because I kind of like the coverage a little bit if I'm doing a topical on lotion because it's kind of more of like a control because with some of that salve, it's kind of like messy and I feel like but it's like a little too greasy for me.
Well, it just takes longer, right? So that's why I make the two. If you're at work and you need to lotion up real quick, use the lotion. Then it dries. It's in your skin, right? But if you're fresh from the gym and you're sitting back and your knee's up and it hurts, use the salve because it's designed to sit on top of your skin and slowly penetrate. I use a coconut oil to keep it somewhat solid, and then I use beeswax to give it, body. Yeah. And then I use
I add some paraffin.
Then I use that's the preservative.
Well, no, what's the wax? Like candle wax? I thought
paraffin wax.
Yeah, paraffin wax.
I use beeswax. But I also use olive oil in that. So the olive oil is one of the best skin penetrators, actually.
Is that?
So if you ever have dry skin, you can actually take olive oil out of your kitchen and it will work miracles for your body. Olive oil is.
Do you like to throw a little DMSO in there, Rasufa?
No. What's that?
It's a carrier. It's something that helps the cannabis penetrate more into your muscle, more into your tendons, more into your bloodstream.
I like the sound of that. It sounds like a chemical, though. And my stuff is organic, except for the preservative, which is a tiny little thing. But I'd like to hear more about that.
I actually found out about DMSO originally from who was it? Locomotive Medical, and it was on his Know Your Breeder with Banner. So like it was actually one of the things to where like when I made it, like I just kind of remembered like this 30-second part of a podcast I watched like 2-3 years ago. So I actually dug it out.
I'm doing the
trying to
same
get
thing right now.
more information about it.
DMSO.
Let's take a look.
A chemical solvent that dissolves many organic and inorganic substances. It is.
Oh, there we go.
Dimethyl sulfoxide. Yeah, I won't be using that. And it's FDA approved to treat only one condition.
Well, it's just something when I've noticed it though, because I made the topical without the DMSO, like it basically makes it like faster acting and deeper penetrating.
Yeah,
like when I've added the DMSO, like you can, it almost like you actually get high like THC effects a little bit, literally from through the skin.
It is commonly used as a solvent and vehicle for drug delivery because of its ability to pass through the skin and other cellular membranes. That's interesting. I try to keep my stuff organic. Like I use a little bit of preservative and that's it. Everything in there is essential oils and regular carrier oils and beeswax.
Oh yeah, you got to get some of those essential oils in there too, though. But those just kind of help, like the cannabis and CBD, do their job a little bit more.
Well, and they have properties as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, like tea
the
tree oil and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this last batch, and this was kind of to add like a little bit more pleasant of a fragrance. I also added cinnamon essential oil, but it was like actual cinnamon, and I used sandalwood from actual sandalwood, but in the essential oils.
Nice. I used lemongrass and lavender in my last batch because the lemon
nice.
Up this, limonene is that smell. And then in essential oil, I think we're basically talking about limonene because it's across the plant world. It is one of the most long-lasting, less volatile terpenes you can come across. So that's why like your lemony weed will smell lemony a lot longer than your other weeds and your fruity weeds will, because that terpene is just tough.
Just so dominant.
Yeah, and if you put it in a jar, that jar is going to become the limonene jar.
Right.
Yeah.
So you put
kind of like that fucking tangy crap. Oh my god.
You
almost have to have like a separate tangy piece because like I don't want that shit in my bowl, dude.
I'm suspect about limonene and tangy. I'm feeling like there might be a lot of valencine in there that will be discovered.
Do you think that's what it is? Like, what is that tangy?
Valencine is what's in oranges. Limonene is lime. So
okay.
People like to just label anything citrus with limonene.
Yeah.
But I think we're up to, what is it, 50 terps now or something? I don't know the number, but it's a lot more than the predominant 5, which are myrcene, beta-caryophyllene, limonene, ocimene, which is the last one, the outlier. What did I say? Myrcene, limonene, beta-caryophyllene, pinene, and ocimene. Those are your big 5. We're getting into a lot of humulines. Those are nice. Terpinolines. That's always been around in a Jack. If you ever had a Jack Herrera and it's got that kind of astringent paint thinner, acetone smell. There's a lot of terpinolene in that Jack, which can take over crosses. It's a really kind of a dominant, although it doesn't last, and it's more volatile than a limonene, which will last longer. It's more dominant in the sense that if you cross it to something else, the chances of the progeny having a terpinolene profile are very high, very high.
Right.
That really affects a cross. Yeah. Boy, they're having a whole. Sorry, I'm not following chat, guys. I'm not real good at all that, but you seem to be doing.
No,
great.
I'm not either. When I get a little too high, we might have to have Chonky to help us with that. We got the new internet coming soon too, so there's definitely going to be some improvements coming to the show in the pretty near future here.
That's just some of the stuff I got into. I'm also into methods of collecting pollen and just for the hell of it, man. I mean, it's like I did all these things just to try everything out, and now I have all these projects that I don't complete all the time. You know what I mean? We have tons of these things.
We got
on.
Sicko Grow in the house. What's up,
And I
Sicko
just,
Grows?
hey, what's up, Sicko? I just pull these out to show you guys. They're usually in a dark spot.
Yeah.
Big DGC shout out.
But I've got, Sicko, what's up, brother? But I got 5 species of fungi going now. It's totally Tanazi's fault. I mean, I wasn't a big.
Tanazi's such a fun guy.
Totally, right? Sold me on the kit, how fun it was. This was 22 when I started this. And he's like, yeah, man, he's so cool. He's like, it's so fun, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bitch, and I'll try it and I'll put it on my IG, just to support DGs. Loved it. Had so much fun with the Ultimate Fable kit from Tanazi that I've just taken off. And now I've done agar. I've bought a flow hood. And I actually blame Lady Hyphy for the flow hood because while they were working together,
we have her coming on in January.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, she's responsible for me buying some equipment and getting into agar. Because as you know,
she's definitely a badass within the mycology community. She knows her shit. She's like a fucking artist though with those plates. Come on, forget about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, you make the most beautiful plates. And so she totally talked me into a flow hood, which I have, and it's like I've used it a couple times. I just like that thing right there. You see that press right there?
Yeah.
That's an M6 from Razentech. I've used it one time. That cost me $1,300 and change. And I got it on sale. Just so I could make some IG content and show everybody how I fucked up. Right? Because it came out terrible. And I threw it all away. No. I did it before I knew anything and I ground it and it turned out terrible.
Yeah. Really learned.
But now that I know how to use it, I've never had the quantity that I've to run it. Right? I'm miserly with all my little plants that I've grown, and no, that's all personal.
I might be able to help you out with that, Rasufa.
You want to do a collab dab? On the show?
Collab dab.
Some stuff and we'll dab it on the show. We'll use it.
I'm down. I actually got this sour diesel right now. Well, it's got some sour in it. But I'm thinking about squishing the whole plant. I kind of want to turn the whole thing to rosin.
This thing is supposed to run 90 grams an hour.
What the fuck?
On the bottom, on the bottom part right there, it has what's called a flow system. So you take the little aluminum plate off, and it has a ring engraved into it, and then a pour out. So you just set a little dish right here. And
it just cranks.
There's a hole right
here.
You
could almost just put one of those little jars underneath it to just drip it right into the jar. Yeah, fuck yeah. That's how you do it.
It's at 90 grams an hour. You want more than a jar, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have all these bags lined up, and you just one after another, after another, after another. But maybe we'll get G-Bay to come on and talk us through it, or Hot Rod to come talk us through.
Yeah, he's actually really good about that kind of stuff.
He really is. He came on to I had him come on to
Hot Rod. Who else is pretty big? Kyle from Turpicana. He definitely can do his thing. JLS Monster from Three's Genetics. He's definitely a monster on the hash side there on the rosin. And all them guys are the absolute purists. So they're the guys that are cutting their stuff down, going into the freezer, doing the bubble wash, and then fucking pressing the bubble in the machine. So it's all that Colorado light blonde shit.
That's what I was thinking. G-Bay. Because he's a flower guy, a dry flower guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he would have some good tips for that.
I don't know. Personally though, I almost like pressed flower. I had a press for a while, and the thing it was China, Amazon, so it ended up melting on one side. Had to throw it out. But you know, that's what I get for being like, oh well, this should cost like, you know, $800-900 for like a decent one, but here's this one for like $267 off Amazon. So let me waste my money on this. That's gonna break.
Well, and that's what he did. G-Base started
Thanks,
on
China.
and he learned a lot off of one of those cheap $200 models.
Yeah.
Wheel that you had to crank to press it, right? It wasn't bottle jack tech.
Right. Oh, my buddy, big shout out Uncle Chapo. I don't know if he's in the chat, but Uncle Chapo is still on the thing. But he's like a big Greek dude, so it kind of like works for him.
So who can't get the bags? Bottle Tech, but can't get the bags. Have you looked at Rosin Tech sells bags? I believe Legal Alien. Check their page.
Yeah.
And you know,
I think I have some Rosin Tech bags still, even though that wasn't the thing that I got. Because I think I got like a pack of like 100 of them or something from the grow shop, like right before my fucking thing broke.
I don't think I have the right micron. I think I got 90 or something like that. You know, there's a lot to know about it. And I just kind of went, let's go for it. You know, and like everything I do, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, you know. But
yeah.
What does Scotty always call it? Learning in public?
Exactly. Experimenting. That's my Scotty term, experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, too funny. So what we have here, I was smoking some Michelangelo for my Regenetics. Not bad, not bad. I grew all the turtles and Shredder and Bebop. I would have to say my favorites probably tied.
I'm going to be right back, guys.
Okay. My two favorites I would have to tie between Leonardo and Raphael.
Yeah.
Leo had that blueberry, lovely blueberry flavor, and Raph had that nice strawberry. And they both have tinges of citrus too. So they're fruity citrus. Just lovely.
Mm-hmm. I love fruity.
Then I smoked Donatello. It's all right. You know, Bebop was super frosty. That was the one that produced the most frosts. Then we did Michelangelo here. Not bad. But I don't think I'm getting the phenos off Michelangelo and Donatello that people rave about. Because it's okay.
Yeah, you got a different one. Different pheno.
And here we have some Cherry Paloma from JR's selection from Raw Genetics. I'm not sure how many people have tried this. I know you both have tried this, right?
I haven't. I haven't.
Are you growing, Alicia?
Not at the moment, but I'm planning on doing an auto run. Like, hopefully, as soon as this is over, I'm going to be able to turn on the heat mat. I was supposed to do it last week, didn't get to do it, so I was planning on doing it tonight. Turn on the heat mat and germinating with my can.
We'll get you a clone of that then, because I've got, I don't know, 2 or 3 people in New York that have it now.
Oh, really?
Well, Big Word is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
And my friend Doc has it. I sent it to him. And let's see.
Can't forget about Joof.
And Joof.
Oh, Joof. Yeah, how did that was the first person.
Joof and the Beanstalk.
Yeah. Joof is my buddy, man.
He's awesome.
Joof's the real one.
I was visiting New Jersey. That's where my fiance is from. And I'm in New Jersey, and I put a shout out on, it was either I think it was IG. And I'm like, look, if anybody near New Jersey, because I'm in Prohibition land and I couldn't fly with any weed and I want to get fucking high.
Yeah.
Joof immediately contacts me and is like, bro, I would be honored if you come to my house and check out my grow. And I'm like, what? Dude, you are way deep in Prohibition land. This was like, what, 3 years ago, you guys in New York were like, no. Right? It wasn't long ago that you guys were kind of, it was happening.
Like, it was in the works, but I think even from like day one, they stopped really caring. But that was about 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. So anyway, I took a roll up there. It took me a while to get, above the city because he's up and
yeah, he's not in the city.
His family and his story is really great. He's a guy that had addiction issues and cannabis saved his fucking life. Like we hear from so many people,
It's such a common story.
Yeah.
Cannabis
and now he holds down a job. and takes care of his wife and his new kid, who's a monster. This kid's bound to be a fucking linebacker or a lineman for somebody.
He's got a big little boy. He's got a big little boy.
I saw that kid when he was newborn, and I could swear he was a 1-year-old. He was like fucking monster kid. And Juice's not a big guy. I'm like, how did you make that, bro? But anyway, his grow is on point.
What were we saying about the dominant and recessive genes earlier?
Yeah, right.
To be a grandpa.
Is that F1? Is that F1 vigor, baby?
Bringing it full circle.
His grow was really, really cool, and I was able to put him out there because nobody had seen Juve yet. Nobody knew. He commented a lot on the site, the DGC site.
Yeah,
I started off before I refused to make an Instagram because I didn't want my shit all on there like that,
Yeah. And so I'm like, can I make some content with you and to share with the DGC and Instagram? And he's like, sure. And now you see his shit all the time. He's up there because I said, look, dude, I put shit up all the time. Nobody's gonna come after you.
So I have this old Juve interview if people dig way to the bottom of my YouTube channel where I don't know, it was Conversations with Cortez, but it's from a few years ago type of thing. You know what I mean? And I didn't really know what I was doing with it, but it was kind of funny. If you notice, Juve didn't want to turn on his camera during the interview.
Yeah.
So there was a blank screen for Juve.
He's a shy guy.
I think I was the first person to ever interview. I could be wrong, but I almost want to say
maybe the only one,
first person to interview.
You may be the only one.
He's been on DGC before. I know he did at least one to where it was a panel show, and I want to say it was I Can THC and Rasta Jeff or something was on it. But he was definitely on there. I know he's done a couple things now.
Have you been on
this
there
was yet? 2 or 3. Yeah, I've been.
They've never had me on.
Really? I have. They actually just hit me up last week because you know how when older videos kind of get more views sometimes because they, for whatever reason, they just start trending in the algorithm. I've been on. I don't know. I've probably been on there at least 4 or 5 times now. But there's one episode that's got, I think it has over 90,000 views. It's on its way to 100,000 views. I got asked to come on when Brett went on vacation somewhere. So they did a week of guest co-hosts. Nice. I was one, J.R. Token was one, and Chad Westport was another one. So it was the 3 of us filled in for the shows that week. But the show that I did, they kind of did it more Autoflower specific, and that thing's on its way to 100,000 views.
Yeah, I think I think the dude is actually leery of Ganjier program.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Can you explain it more? Because I think I don't quite understand. What exactly is the Ganjier program?
So it's really, people don't understand. Everyone thinks that they're trying to become the know-it-alls and blah blah blah.
Because when I heard Ganjier, my mind just kind of goes to wine sommelier. Is that the same thing or
an expert?
What is it exactly?
Somebody who assesses cannabis, basically, they assess wine, basically. So they just
that's the same thing.
It's not to say what's what in the industry. We're only looking at stuff that's already there, quantifying things. You know what I mean? And trying to push forth proper nomenclatures and get into history of cannabis and look at all the different aspects of cannabis, the solventless and solvent and what type of solvents and organic versus salts and all that stuff and what trichomes.
Why is it got to be one or the other? Why can't we do both?
Well, it's we can.
I love me some Synganic.
I'm different than them as I'm an indoor guy, right? I don't talk about that with the Ganjier because they're all outdoor snobbies.
Oh,
yeah. Say snobbies. It's better weed. It really is. The outdoor stuff is fucking amazing. At least the stuff I get from my friends in the farms in the Emerald Triangle. it's unbelievable. It just has really unique profiles.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's not.
I've gotten, I mean, even like around here, like back in different points of the 2000s, you know what I mean? I've been able to experience some of that humble outdoor, and there's definitely something to be said about it.
Oh yeah. Man, I should have sent you some footage of my last trip up there, man. I got some pictures from some farms, one in Trinity County and one in Mendocino County. I didn't visit any humble farms this year. A couple years ago, I visited Huckleberry Hills Farms. Joe and Rose are amazing growers. They're wonderful hosts. They grow and bred the Whitethorn Rose. I don't know if anybody's heard of this.
Rose.
It's fucking fire. It's off the hook. It's won award after award after award at the Emerald Cup. And it's a very West Coast knowledge right now, but it should be nationwide. But, he's holding it close to that Guava Gator is fire. So,
yeah.
But, it's holding it close to the chest right now because it's new. Right. So it's got crossed with a couple things. Very few people are pressing it out. It makes amazing rosin. I have a little bit of it saved. It's just one of the best things I've ever fucking tasted or seen grow. And I could show you pictures of that, but I didn't think about that. I got invited to a grow in Lake County this year, which
Lake County, Illinois?
No, Lake County, California, where Clear Lake is.
Oh, okay.
All so right. Once you get into Northern California, say past Santa Rosa, which is not far above San Francisco Bay, you're in Northern California, right? And people. So
I've been to California twice, but I've never been like north of LA. I've always been in LA or Southern California, or times going to California to, if you park in like San Diego, you can just walk into Tijuana. But back in those days, to come back to the United States, all you needed was a state ID.
So there's some outdoor stuff going on in LA, but mostly that's private. Anything commercial, indoor, all the way even up to Sacramento, really.
Right. Well, I've spent some time in like the last time I went out there, I was in Moreno Valley in SoCal, if you've ever been out there. But I've never gotten to experience Northern California. Maybe on my third trip here, maybe if I make a third trip to California, I could put that on the bucket list.
Absolutely, dude. I'll pick you up at the airport, bro. Come to San Francisco and stop here. But the thing is, like, I'm in zone 9B. I should be able to grow just almost anything here. But like I was telling you earlier before the show started, I think it was before the show started, my relative humidity in my area is generally around 30%. Really low.
I think I'm in about 40 with this. I don't know. There's been some days that was cold, like one of the days during the week that just passed. Yeah. It was 10 degrees when I got to work in the morning. The temperature was 10 degrees outside, but here's the trick. It was negative 18 with the wind chill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So without me being closer to the coast, like there's a little hill range where I'm in another valley behind. If you look at San Francisco Bay like this, I'm inside of it, but there's a mountain on the edge of it. So we are hot and dry and windy and brutal. If I was growing in San Francisco, I'd have humidity for days, right? And cooler temperatures, and that VPD would go whoop. But as it is, I'm hot, low humidity. We have poor VPD outside. But once you get up towards the triangle, there's something about that area where they have altitude and the way the mountains are and the way the coastal breezes go, that their humidity levels are just amazing throughout the year, and that their drying period is 60 naturally in their fucking barn come late October. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're lucky. The fog is in and it's cold as fuck. They just hang the shit out in the shed.
Yeah.
And they're not like us.
It works for them.
It works perfectly,
Yeah.
So
nothing wrong with that. Hey, not to cut you off, Rasufa, but we actually got a question. Looks like this is from a newer grower. Gordon Gilly. He said, "Heard you tried sit buckets as newbies. Would you recommend sit buckets for bottom watering?" I think that actually would be kind of a good idea.
He's asking you.
And if you yeah, I think it would be a good idea because that is one of the common errors of like new growers is like either A, overwatering, or B, hearing so much about overwatering that you underwater just out of kind of like paranoia because you don't really know what you're doing yet. You know, not to be biased, but if you did want to try them out, Real Growers makes a really good one with the real buckets. And if you did want to get a discount on that, you can use my promo code to save some money and get free shipping.
Did Scotty take you in the room and show you his little reservoir setup and all that on his Scotty buckets, the real buckets?
I've been to Scotty's house a couple times now, but I have never seen his grow.
Oh, dude. He's got that dialed the way his buckets rock.
I'm sure he does, but I don't know. I guess like I'm a little different than most people, right? So like, I don't know. Like I was like, even the first time I went to his house, like I was so surprised that I even got like invited to go. So like the first time I went, I didn't even go like inside of the bakery. But you know, at the same time, you know, kind of got the thing where it's like, like I don't want to be like out there and like be like all fanned out, like, oh my God. So, you know, I just go in, like, I'm just myself talking to people, like, they're like normal people, you know what I mean? Because this is my friends, this is the people I talk to on the internet. So I don't want to be like that guy, like, oh,
I think you're on. So, like, last time I was there, I showed up and I'm like, sorry to crash, you know, because I knew something was going on out there. It's like, what are you talking about? I said, well, you know, I
got to go inside the bakery the last time I went.
Yeah,
and that was really cool.
I told Scotty, I said, I don't think you've ever actually invited me out here, bro. Somebody else has always told me that this is going on. He said, yeah, but you're on the always invite list, right? And I think you're probably that guy too. Actually, I don't want to say that for Scotty, but you know, like when there's an after party, there's a little inner circle in the DGC, and it's not a we're better than anybody else type of thing. It's
but. I mean, like most people probably don't know at the same time, though, right? Just to kind of give a little bit of context here. So, like the bakery, like where Scotty films from on Dude Grows, like you see Grambo in there and everything. Like Dude's in Canada, so he's got like his own little setup. But like as far as the bakery, like Scotty's like little studio, like that's actually kind of like what do you call it? Like a modular building almost. But it's like in his backyard.
It was a garage.
Yeah, I think I heard.
He added on to the garage or
something.
If you go out the bakery door,
but I mean, you don't. I understand because it's like, you know, you don't want to invite everybody like to your house. You know what I mean? So
I get it. You know,
there's some things you got to keep like a little private. You know what I mean? So it's totally understandable.
And that group is always the group that the names that you hear.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
that group is the people
us that probably knew each other for how many years before we even met in person. You know?
Yeah. And I always like I've been all over that place. I haven't seen their whole house. I've only been down in the kitchen.
Yeah, no.
But I was like, all right, show me the bakery, show me the grow, show me the greenhouse. Right? I made him show me, which is probably why I'm not on the show. Gotta come a little strong for Scotty, I think. Like the dude always liked me, and Scotty had to learn to love me. Earlier, you mentioned how the dude is. You felt he wasn't sure about you, and I don't think that's the case at all. The dude.
I didn't say that. I said he wasn't sure about the edibles.
Oh yeah,
I think he got a little bit too much of an effect from the Cortez drink, so that's why I said he's like almost like a little gun shy, but he's like, Cortez. It's kind of like first time shame on you, second time shame on me.
My girlfriend gave me the best synopsis of the dude. I was like, oh man, you nailed that, because I always go there and help set up. You know, like on Friday for the event and shit, or I'll show up. Whatever.
I like the VIP party better than the actual cup. I don't know if
Yeah,
I'm
that was
alone
cool.
on that one, but
That was cool.
I always have a better time at the VIP party. But it's kind of like more intimate.
It
Like
is.
people, you know what I
It
mean?
really
That
is.
the actual cup, like that's the big show. Like it's kind of more like a circus, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
I kind of like the VIP party because it almost reminds me of like being back in like high school and being in like a house party that's in a field somewhere with like
Well,
some
it's a party.
kegs, you know what I mean?
It's a party, not an
yeah.
event. You know,
Right,
you've
exactly.
taken the work out of it. We don't have to judge anybody's weed. We just get to
Yeah.
smoke,
Yeah. Just chilling.
eat food, listen to music. You know, it's a party. Yeah, it's always good.
Fuck yeah.
It's always good. But she said, and she's only gone with me once, and she said, I got the dude figured out. And I'm like, oh yeah, tell me. And she goes, well, he sits back real quiet, and he pretends like he's, you know, not really taking it in, but what he's doing is taking it all in. He's like listening to everybody's input, and then at the end, he makes a plan and goes break, and everybody goes. She said, the dude is the real boss behind the scenes, and I said, really? And she goes, yeah, he's the one. When
he's a really good organizer.
Yeah, when he says go, everybody goes, and I'm like, you know, you're right. He does kind of sit back and he listens to everybody. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Go. And everybody goes, you know. It's really great. I love the dynamic, you know. And Scotty is that guy could be a game show host, man.
Yeah. Scotty's definitely an entertainer. He's got that personality, you know.
Yeah, he's on and he's always joking and he's always jovial and he's
relatable.
It's just like all the time, you know.
Yeah.
He would.
I think that's why me and Scotty get along so well because we're both like really hyper guys.
Could be. Cheers, everybody. This is Michelangelo. I'm gonna load up some Plum in a second.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to Rasta Jeff, grew all the turtles. I have yet to smoke the shredder, so we'll see how that is. But if anybody's looking at those turtles, I recommend the Leo and the Raphael. They are delicious.
Yeah, that's fun. That sounds fun. I'd never heard of it before till you said earlier about the Ninja Turtle lineup. It's like, oh wow,
so they're not made anymore. They're hard to get a hold of. So you kind of got to dig around the community. I was digging for like a year before I had all the turtles. I needed Michelangelo, and Jeff couldn't help me anymore because he doesn't sell them, right? So I'd been asking. Nobody's hit me up until I'm on a live with Jeff, and he says, all right, shouting out to the army, get Michelangelo into the hands of Rasufa so he can run it. But so everybody sends me a few seeds here and there, and I end up with 6 of the 7 available because I didn't have what's the other one? I got Bebop, not Rocksteady. I didn't get Rocksteady, so I had the 4 turtles, Shredder, and Bebop, and I had 2 of each. So I sent them all. I sent 1 of each to all mine popped, so I grew them all, and I only sowed 1 because they're all fem. And I set a set of 6 up to Canada to Brett from Caribou Heart TV. Does anybody know Caribou Heart TV?
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
He's in a podcast up in Canada. We've got Dirk on there as well.
Okay.
Dirk's in Canada.
I have to check them out.
And we've got him on Let's Be Buds. That's another Canadian podcast that I frequent. Well, you were there, Canada. Yeah. Yeah, they're great. Those guys are great.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's big. It's a big thing, man. We're crossing barriers with this stuff. We're getting international. We're all getting together.
I wouldn't mind running a cut from Rasta Jeff if somebody sent one to me.
People love Lemon Jeffrey.
You know, I've smoked Lemon Jeffrey. I've gotten to try it. I remember the first time I went out to Colorado, my buddy, Dude Where's My Bong, picked me up from the airport, and he's so awesome. Like,
I know, dude.
Yeah, now whenever I go to Colorado, like that's automatically one person
No.
that like I'm definitely hanging out with, but that's kind of always like my road dog while I'm out there. He's actually gonna help out this year with like doing the food stuff. He helped me out last year, remember? He was like running around with me when we were shooting the content, fucking with everybody.
I gotta give Dude Where's My Bong a little more time next time I'm out there. He's always really cool. He always approaches me, and there's several times that like I don't realize I just passed him until he's in a video that I'm looking at. Like I could tell he's come up to try and talk to me, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" Boom. Oh,
Yeah.
Dude,
you guys are like two trains in the night.
Yeah, but he's actually trying to make a connection, and I passed him. So if he sees this, bro, reach out anytime on IG. He knows that, But yeah, cool guy, real cool guy.
Yeah.
Where's my bomb? I actually, when I go there, my crew is usually Blue Kiss, Nathan and
Sonny.
Terry. Yeah,
I usually see you by like Sonny and Backtopia, or I see you by like Raider Dank Vader. That's usually
well, Raider's my guy, but he's always doing his thing, right?
Yeah.
Right?
He's always fucking swamped.
Yeah, well, he makes that choice. That's Ray.
He's making money.
Ray doing Ray, man. What am I gonna say?
He's actually in the works right now for opening a brick and mortar because he just moved to Fort Collins out there.
I just talked to him yesterday. We talk all the time.
Yeah. I talked to him a couple days ago. We got him coming on the show, but I think he's coming on like January, February. I don't know.
Nice.
That's why I'm not in charge of this.
One of my favorite guys. Definitely consider him to be a brother. He's family to me. Him and his family.
Oh
great
family. He's a badass.
Great kids. I love that whole crew. They're great. I can't say anything. They're just so nice. Everybody I've met in his family has been so nice. They could use a little kick in the butt in the Pizza Hut, in the pizza shop. But there's kids. They're getting away with. But I'm always there to help him pick up the slack. Dig in. But
that would be cool. Hopefully, because with the timeline, I think we potentially have him on right after his shop opens, as long as everything goes good.
Cool, right on.
As long as everything goes to plan right now, from what he was saying.
Man. Yeah, they're going to be out of the B&B here this week, I think, and moving into their new house.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't ask him which place he got. Did he get the place next to the house?
I don't know exactly because like when I was, but this might have been like maybe about a week ago I talked to him.
So is it the one down by college or is it the one that's kind of out?
As far as location, he was just sending me these like pictures of the inside of this like perspective place. Cause I'm actually, so here's the plan for me. And actually, Rasufa, you're totally invited. I'm getting married. What would that be? Like June the 3rd. So I'm like taking 2 days to drive there, chill for that day that I get there. I'm getting married the next day. The next 3 days, I get to prepare for the cup and everything. But I was talking about it with Raider Dank Vader because the original plan, I'm gonna get married at the Church of Cannabis. So I'm getting married up in Denver. We've gonna do it after hours, so we'll actually be able to smoke inside the church and everything.
Nice, dude.
Really cool. Yeah, you gotta come, dude. But at first, we were talking about doing like the reception, because Grambo is gonna be the one that does the ceremony. God help us all. But he's gonna ordain to marry me and my wife.
That's awesome.
So I was talking to him. I'm like, well, I got to spend because I'm renting out the church for an hour. After hours, I got to pay what I got to pay for that, which a little pricey, but it's reasonable. You know what I mean? What they're charging me, we got it for an hour, everything. But I was like, okay, since I'm spending this money from the church, like, where could we just kind of do like a guerrilla reception? I'm like, Denver a little bit better. So the original plan was to do the reception at Adam Dunn's barbecue place up in Denver. But I was actually inviting Raider Dank Vader to everything. I was like, oh, since you're in Colorado now, if you want to come out to my wedding, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then he's like, hey, what are you doing for like afterwards? And he's like, well, just so you know, like if everything goes good, I should be opening up this place, blah, blah, blah. He didn't tell me exactly where it was located, but he sent me the pictures of like how the inside looked. So he was like, if you'd be
bricks and a tin roof.
Yeah, it almost kind of looked like one of them like hipster kind of like it was like a style in place, you know what I mean? But he like offered me like, oh yeah, if you guys want to come here instead of like Adam Dunn's place, as long as I get everything open, you're more than welcome. Nice. So I was like, damn, that actually would be kind of opportune, because like even though we'll be about an hour north in Denver, Fort Collins is like the final destination, so that would kind of like work out, you know what I mean?
Yeah. He was looking at a spot near the house they were getting that was really kind of cool, big, squarish, gray, dark gray, and bricks with some tin roof. I don't know if those are the pictures you saw. And then there was one that's downtown that Scotty likes, because it's, you know, it's more downtown off of College, I think.
Oh yeah,
Scotty's house, you know,
right over there by Snooze.
Yeah, and then there was a place that is actually a restaurant and has a kitchen ready to go. There were some options, but I think the one next to, I was like, dude, I'd want that one next to the house with the cool tin roof and the big
right
kind of vibe going on. But
it's do something a little bit different, you know.
It's in Loveland, I think, so it's kind of out of the way. Like the one on College would be the one where people would just
be like
location. Yeah. But I mean, you know, Raider Dink Vader, we're all friends with him, so I'm sure he's going to have a lot of people supporting him and, you know, giving him shout outs in the community. So he's definitely going to turn into one of those things to where it's like, if you're in the Fort Collins area, like you got to come kind of check in with Raider, you know what I mean? He's going to be over there like El Padrino.
At Fuego Pizza is what that's going to be called, everybody, just so you know.
Right.
Fuego Pizza in Fort Collins. It might be Loveland if he picked the one close to the house. I think it's out.
That's what he kind of told me, though. I guess it was like still a little up in the air as far as specifics, but he was working it from a couple different angles, just trying to lock something in. But it's in the works, so it'll be soon. One way or another.
His mind is something, man. He just
he's going to figure it out. He'll get it done.
You have to.
I have full confidence in him.
I have confidence in him, and I wish him the best, and I send out all the positive energy I can for his venture. I hope it just takes off, you know, because he makes a great pizza. Let's not forget that.
Oh, yeah.
Those pizzas are delicious.
The crust is like perfect.
Yeah,
it's almost like Sicilian. What would you call that? Kind of like a Sicilian, or almost like a style crust.
Yummy style. I don't know. I'm not the guy. He needs to let go of some of the control, though, and you know, like he won't let anybody spread the dough out. I'm like, bro, come on, bro. Like this last time, like he didn't want anybody pulling dough out of the and getting it ready and getting it flat and putting it in the cornmeal. But people were waiting for pizza. So I just started doing it. And he's like, I said, I see what you're doing. I'm doing it so that you can do that part and get these fucking going.
Yeah.
A little assembly line going.
You just got a little, you know, delegate some stuff out, bro. You can't do it all.
You don't have to do everything.
Yeah. 5 people standing around while you're trying to do it all.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I have that problem at times, so I can relate to it.
Control freak? Yeah,
I don't say control freak, but it's like if it's not done my way, it's not right.
Let's be realistic. I know that I'm a control freak when it comes to shit like that, so I'm just going to call it a spade, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Why lie about it? Why lie about it? No one's ever going to say I'm not being real.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think as growers, though, we all kind of turn into grow freaks or control freaks to some extent, because we are playing like God to our plants. We're in full control of our room, and
I'm a rotten God. I'm a forgetful, neglectful, spiteful God.
You're more of the God of the Old Testament.
I'm like the God that forgot to water them, and then they're in dry back going.
Yeah.
And I come in and I go, God damn it. Not, oh, sorry, babies. It's like, God damn it. You can dry already, you piece of all the stuff you're not supposed to do. And I know it.
The almighty smiter.
I've just got too many things going on. You know what I mean? And it's going to lessen now that the Ganjier certification is over and not hanging over my head and just some other life shit. I've had a lot of things going on, and having ADHD and adult depression and anxiety and stuff doesn't help any of us,
Yeah.
That's why we're all so lucky to be learning the things we're learning about this plant, these plant species, and cannabinoids. I mean, let's face it, we're not just dealing with cannabis. We're dealing with cannabis sativa ruderalis, cannabis sativa, cannabis sativa indica, and all that in lies with those. And it's endless, and the different products we can make, and the efficacies, increasing efficacies, and delivery methods for everybody. Like one of my new things I'm looking into doing is I'm going to start creating bath bombs because my fiance has fibromyalgia.
Mm-hmm.
She can't stand the tinctures because she doesn't like the taste. She doesn't.
They
like
got a recipe on the Magical Butter website that's for how to make bath bombs, and I was actually tempted because I like a good bubble bath on the weekends. Like I actually took one this morning. I have this bubble bath that has concentrated Epsom salt in it, just to soak like all my old injuries.
Every grower,
I haven't lived an easy life.
Every grower should have a bag of Epsom salts.
Yeah.
Because
multi-purpose tool.
Well, it's magnesium sulfate. All right. So your plant likes magnesium and it likes sulfur, right? And CalMag is a dangerous thing to use because calcium. Well, yeah, it's balanced as it is if your shit has no calcium or magnesium in it. But what nobody takes into account is that generally your local,
or if you're running like an RO system.
If you're running RO, yes, but I don't, because I don't like wasting water, and I don't, you know what I mean. So
I go off to Chicago City tap water, and it's like the nectar of the gods.
Well, it probably has some sort of calcium in it, either phosphate or sulfate.
I'm sure it does. Like, well, here in Chicago, like back in the day, on more of like the southwest side, we used to have these like slaughter yards and like other nasty stuff. And then like I think even the sewage of the city would go into the Chicago River, which would then contaminate Lake Michigan with like all this nasty like shit, animals, everything else. And it actually used to make the city stink, from what people say. So they actually, this was like the 50s, going like into the 50s and 60s. They kind of revolutionized it to where they reverse engineered the flow of the Chicago River, but they kind of like started from scratch on everything to like redo it. So at this point, just because like that's the way that like the water used to be in Chicago, like now they've like dialed it in so much that even from our taps it comes out like, I don't know, perfect.
Oh,
maybe I'm a little biased, but
my stuff is like,
you can't find a better city in the United States of America.
My stuff is 8+ pH and about 300 ppm.
Yeah,
so
no, mine comes out of the tap like pretty much 7.0 on the nose. I don't adjust, and I use recharge, so I don't get a pH.
Right. You probably have some type of ppm going on though, some type of EC, which
I don't measure any of that. I just grow, dude.
So
I'm kind of like one of them like old school barefoot growers.
Yeah,
like I'm like an indoor hillbilly, dude. So like
I'm the same way. I use my municipal, and I have not gotten any kind of paperwork from them to see what's in it. I just assume that there's extra calcium, and I don't use that much calcium. I just use a magnesium.
I don't use calcium or magnesium at all because I have the grow dots. But like I'll still use some other stuff sometimes. Like I still will use some blackstrap molasses. I know that's got like a whole bunch of like macros in it or whatever. But then sometimes too, if I'm adding anything, it might be like the New Millennium additives.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So you Grow Dot guy. I've used them a couple times. This last time I used them, I don't think I had great success, and I noticed big time magnesium deficiencies. But I'm wondering if it's because I didn't buffer my cocoa well enough.
See, I'm a living soil guy, so I kind of helps my thing. But I'll say this:
I wanted to test it as a Grow Dot food on its own. Required an inert media, right? So I'm growing. I have inert media over here with Grow Dots, and then I have salts and soil over here in the same grow. Like it's really easy to fuck up what I'm doing.
I get it.
And then I'm like, whatever. It'll come back in a couple weeks.
Yeah. So with Grow Dots, I kind of find like the majority of the time, I'll say 70 to 80% of the time, it's just going to be like the perfect amount of nutrition that you need to get from seed to harvest or clone to harvest, whatever you're doing. Now, there's some times where you're going to run into either one of two problems. The first problem with Grow Dots, your plant's going to stay perfectly green and healthy, but all of a sudden you start getting closer to harvest. You want to start bringing it home and you're not really catching that fade. So sometimes it's like, okay, this is like day 64 and I still got this like perfectly green plant, which isn't the worst problem to have, but it's like, okay, like I got this coming behind, timing kind of thing. So that's kind of like the first problem, which happens maybe 10-20% of the time. The dots don't want to turn off on their own, but you can take the control back from the dots with Winter Frost from New Mill. If you use that stuff, it'll catch the fade on time. It'll do what it needs to do to pretty much turn the Grow Dots off.
I think that's the part that I didn't do that, and they went too long because I got flash off the last crop, and that's left in there, synthetic.
So definitely, you know what I mean. I would say if you use Grow Dots again, you know what I mean. Definitely, you can use Winter Frost to kind of control when they're going to finish a little bit more. You can take the control back from the dots. The other problem that you might run into, and not even 10 or 20% of the time, will be that like the Grow Dots just isn't quite enough nutrient. Like maybe you waited a little too long before you transplanted. So by the time you went into final container, you had this like massive fucking root ball already.
Right.
What I like to use, and this isn't like a sponsor or anything, like this is actually something I still buy off like Amazon when I get it. It's from Raw Nutrition. It's like Raw Nutrition NPK or whatever they're called. But I just use their Bloom, which is, I think it's like a 744, 747. I don't know the numbers exactly, but it's like really basically like inert. So that is something that I buy if I ever kind of see something lacking in flour. I'll use that. Or if I'm really trying to like force something to put some like extra weight on it, since it's so inert, like that's actually what I'll use as like a PK booster per se.
Okay.
But the numbers are so low, I don't really got to worry about like frying anything or freaking anything out.
I'm looking up real quick here to make sure. Epsom salts is magnesium phosphate or magnesium sulfate? I forget. I just don't want to mislead people.
I don't.
If I said sulfate, and it might be phosphate.
I literally have it right here. I just don't want to get up and grab it.
No, it's magnesium sulfate. I was right.
Okay.
I was right.
I have a bag right here, but it's like out of reach for me to read.
But I noticed that Sicko says he has one for the bath and one for the grow. And are they different, Sicko, or are they the same?
Well, he probably has a whole bag he devotes to the grow room, and a bag he devotes to, because they'll say have like lavender, Epsom salts, all sorts of different
He said sulfate.
But
lower pH, glycol. Yeah, I try not to throw too much calcium at my stuff. When I do, I use Nectar for the Gods. I use their calcium because it's organic and it's expensive, but I can monitor
Actually
balance out
misspoke. This raw is a 312.12. But that's still not too bad, because have you ever seen like some of those like so-called bloom boosters where it'll be like 0.9642? Like, yeah, like what the hell?
Yeah. But you're really only using like this much in 5 gallons of water.
Right.
Powerful. But
I
that's
remember that this was before I had, this is still on, I like refused to make like an Instagram or anything, and I would just kind of like sporadically post on the Dude Grows website. But like back when I would get like my information from like Dude Grows, and I'd be like on Google looking through like forums on like Roll It Up or something up, or like 420 something.com. But I seen the comment once, somebody said that them bloom boosters with the high numbers, they're like, oh, those are like Satan's sickle. But it was the funniest thing that I ever read. I still remember
that had to be like Coach Steve or Jay Maestro.
Well, I hate to interrupt. I'm gonna have to go, but I really appreciate meeting you, Rasufa. We're definitely see each other again, I'm hoping.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to come back and chat with you guys again. I love your Soji screen, by the way.
What'd you say?
I love your screen, your Soji screen behind you.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Cool.
And thanks for all the awesome promo work you did. You are awesome.
You're welcome. Yeah. My pleasure, honestly.
Thank you.
I just like
Alicia is really good with the promo.
Yeah. She's fire.
Thank you. And you're welcome. Well, it benefits both of us. So, yeah.
Yes.
I do appreciate it. I'll let you guys finish, but I do have to get going. It's getting late over here on the East Coast.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They're an hour ahead of us. All right, Alicia.
But it was a pleasure. Later. I'll see everybody next week. You're still going to get emails from me, so.
Okay.
I'll see you soon.
All right,
bye.
Thanks, Alicia.
Nice. So what'd you do?
Yeah, I had to take a little break earlier. I had to pee. That's why I got up. For Thanksgiving, me and the wife pretty much just spent time at the house. We tried to get my mom to come out, but she didn't want to. So it was just me, my wife, and the cat, Bella.
Same here.
She's around here somewhere.
Yeah. I didn't even make a whole turkey because she doesn't eat meat really. So
I don't like turkey, but what me and the wife do, actually started this tradition last year. I cook a whole chicken instead.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like cooking a whole chicken because I take what I don't eat. I'm supposed to only eat the breast because I've really jacked my body up with drugs and alcohol over the years. So everything is off the table, supposed to be. I'm only supposed to eat like chicken breast. But you know how damn good a thigh is.
Oh, I was just about to say all the flavors in the thighs. I was about to play devil's advocate for you.
Is the best. So
yeah,
I'll get the whole chicken, cook it, do a meal that's got the breast, and then take the rest of that chicken and cut it up into taco meat, man. And
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah, that's kind of the cool thing about making a whole chicken. I've been doing it for a little while now, but so last year was the first time I tried. Have you ever done like a 24-hour saltwater brine before you do it up in like the cast iron? And it just makes the meat like so tender. But that's like a dinner. That's lunch for the next day, leftovers, and then you're gonna have like leftovers that I make taco meat out of.
Dude, I gotta tell you,
great minds think alike, my friend.
This Paloma is a year old now. I harvested last October. Just yanked out and just knocked these leaves off just now out of the bin. This shit is fire, dude. And I'm smoking it in a pipe. I'm not even in a dirty pipe, not even in a fresh joint.
I got a dirty pipe right here, dude.
Oh, dude, it's banging. Whoever has not tried cherry Paloma should try
I'm not sure if they can see it, but this has got the DGC and like the little finger piece. You got look, we got the same bowl. We got the same dirty fucking bowl.
Yep. Because this sucker
mine's just a blue one.
This sucker has the awesome carb.
Yeah.
My big
Dude, so just so everybody can see out there, these are the exact same bowl. The only difference is the color.
Yep. They both have, I don't know if I can get it in there. That says DGC in there. It's a little emblem.
Yeah. It's almost like a marble or like little piece of like glass art.
Can't really get it. Maybe
Yeah.
like this. Let's do this.
Oh,
Nope.
yeah, you see a little bit.
I suck at that. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
stop.
I can't do that either. Some people are like, bam, they can
Am I
do
left?
like
Am
the
I right?
double
What
hand.
are you doing?
I
Jesus.
can't do it though.
But Killer Cuts, it's out there. Get a hold of JR, people. This fucking thing is fire.
JR definitely is responsive, but his profile is kind of hard to find if you're not friends with him already.
Well,
He's
then
like super
look
shadow
him up
banned.
on my profile or
Yeah.
on Cortez's profile.
Or on mine. I interviewed JR maybe like, well, it was pre-recorded, so it was a little while ago. We recorded that, but I released it maybe like a month or two ago, whatever it was. I'm pretty sure I have clickable links to his social if you guys want to like dig through my YouTube videos. And if anybody wants to check out Rasufa's stuff, I have if you guys go to the description, there's a clickable link to his Instagram in there.
And there's a lot of life stuff in there. There's a lot of life stuff in there. So you gotta, I don't know. There's my travels. If you want anything educational on there, you'll have to go way back. But there is stuff in there that'll show you like ways to collect pollen, storing it, you know, that kind of shit, pollinating, selectively pollinating a female, failures on how to use that, washing hash in a 5-gallon washing machine, just a few different things, you know. There's some nonsense on there. But if you want to see some footage of some farms in Emerald Triangle, you can see that on my page. And some events, Emerald Cup, Canafest up in Eureka.
I remember one of my favorite things you do is reviews because you're always so honest. Like I remember there was one where it was like you had some weed that somebody sent to you or that you got that was like somebody like mined the fucking trichomes off of it to like keep it and then sold it.
Yep. And you know, that said, there's a couple factors to that. We've all seen that little rock. That is one of the things they like to make moon rocks out of is a smooth bud. All the outer trichomes have been knocked off. This is an industry move by some people because if they knock all that off into a bin while it's dry, they have the makings for rosin, basically. So they can nail you twice on the same flower, right? You pay,
Right.
So they'll test a bud out at 31%, but they've taken, mind you, a couple ounces of the premium, maybe a pound tops out of their huge crop to test, and they get the best score. And then the rest have been sent through most likely a trimming machine, which is going to knock off most of those outer trichomes, all the best trichomes, because those are the ones that are going to produce the most terpenes because they're exposed to light. Let's not forget the main purpose of a trichome is sunscreen for the plant. That's it.
Right.
That and keeping pests, either attracting pollinators or keeping pests away. So a really frosty expression is indicative of a trait that comes from something that is in a high sun area because it's looking for sunscreen, you know. And that
Needs
said,
some cover.
That said, those outer trichomes are the ones that really produce the most resin in them. If you look at what we call a capitate stalk, which is the trichome we all prefer and grow, there's several trichomes. There's sessile trichomes, which just look like a little hair on your weed. You'll see them if you look close. There's bulbous. There's bulbous trichomes that look like little blobs, and there's capitate stalks and sessile stalks. So you may see a long stalk with nothing on it, but what we want is that. These are the trichomes we want to see, a tall stalk with a round head. And in this area, everything heads up towards a couple factories in here, which create terpenes and cannabinoids right here in the trichome. Right, everything starts as CBGA. That's the precursor to all cannabinoids. But as it comes through here and hits this factory, it turns into either CBG, CBD, THC, whatever the fuck it's going to become. And then it fills up here, the top half of this. If you're really looking close at a trichome, I'm talking like 60 to 100 magnification, you'll notice that there's a cuticle in the top of this ball. And
I know there's a guy out of Denver. I think it's like Denver Photography something that's done a lot of those cool macro shots.
So look at some of those pictures. What you'll notice in the top half of this trichome is a hole. It's a cuticle that fills up with resin. You'll actually see the liquid tilting in there. The longer you let that flower grow towards maturity, the fuller those trichomes are going to be. Right? So when you were mentioning letting your shit go longer and getting more amber, and
if I do something like that, I gotta pretty much accept that out of like an ounce, I might find like 1 to 3 seeds.
Well,
if I let it go long enough,
there's that factor. There's that factor. But the point I'm getting at,
but it's totally worth it though to get those effects. I don't mind like, oh, I found 2 seeds in an ounce. Like, okay, cool. You know what I mean?
So let's make something clear here. So you're doing 2 things. You're doing 2 things with letting it go long. One, you're letting more resin accumulate in that cuticle, right? Which is going to raise the THC level on a certificate of analysis, and I'll explain why. The second thing you're doing is you're letting that degrade, and you're turning the THC into CBN, which is sleepy time stuff. So you're getting 2 effects. You're getting more power from the psychoactive THC, right? And you're getting some CBN as well, which is going to make you more stoned and a little sleepy. That's why the couch lock hits you like that from something that's been grown so long.
I like to have some of that in the toolbox, though. You know what I mean? Because there's like some days you kind of need it.
Yeah, but
like you got an injury, you got a headache. You know what I mean? It's a nice tool to have around.
Well, funny you mentioned that. If you do have a headache, then you're going to want to be looking for something that's got some THCV, because that's a good one to relieve headaches. Terpenes do specific things. Beta caryophyllene is going to give you a lot of pain relief and gastrointestinal relief. Limonene is going to give you anxiety relief, but potentially anxiety. Myrcene is going to give you pain relief. Linalool is going to give you some relaxation. They all do different shit. But
sometimes I like the little anxiety sometimes from a good sativa.
Yeah, me too. They all kind of treat me the same because I smoke so much weed, and it doesn't matter what time of day, I'm just smoking it for flavor.
You ever found something though that was like still a little land racy and kind of had you like peeking out the windows a little bit on it?
Yeah, maybe.
A little paranoid.
Oh, it's pretty average for me.
Yeah.
But the point I was making a second ago is people are looking at THC percentages on a package as a variety specific or cultivar specific thing, right? So when you see 28% on a package, that sample that they sent in does not mean that wedding cake is going to be the same across the board everywhere, right? Maybe they got a good wedding cake and they got 25%, and they sent the primo of their shit, right? What that number represents is nothing to do with the fact that that's wedding cake. It has everything to do with the fact that for that 3.5 ounce jar, 25% of that weight is the resin in those cuticles that gets you high. So let's examine that. This jar, we know, is not that premium sample that was set in where the weight of an eighth, it actually contains fucking 25%. This one's been knocked off and tumbled.
But it's some weed that gets me high for 30 minutes and then I gotta smoke again.
And that could be cultivar specific. But yeah.
But you find that with some of the gelatos, you find that with some of the runs to where it's maybe like a quick onset high, but after like 20, 30 minutes, the effects are gone.
Well, and there's a factor of that being for blonde resin. So people that like to run blonde resin will pull their shit early. And without cannabinoids and trichomes and plant matter reaching full maturity, you're not getting that full profile, and you will not get longevity out of your psychoactive response or therapeutic response, right? That shit needs to come to term. So the problem we're having is people are yanking shit early so they can have blonde resin and hash instead of regular old brown hash. You know what I mean? So
they want that super blonde Colorado shit.
And it's good because terp wise, you get a lot of flavor preservation in those early immature cannabinoid or trichomes, you know. But if you're looking for a high THC number, it's not necessarily going to be. My point is, it's not going to be cultivar specific. You can get it yourself by running your shit longer and letting this little cuticle fill up more. Frenchie Cannoli, one of our council members, the world's leading hashishan until he died, always let his shit run into 50-70% amber. Why? Because he got more resin in the gland. He got more hash. He didn't care about the fact that it was gold trichomes. You know, he wasn't going to smoke that flower anyways. He was going to.
He wasn't trying to look at it. He was trying to get high.
He was getting as much liquid as he can into those glandules. Yeah. So there you go. That number it doesn't represent anything, anybody. You know, what you're going to want is flavors. Those are going to give you a better high at a lower THC percentage than non-terpene high, non-terpene percentage weed. We want
like I've had some stuff, you know what I mean? I'm a big fan of like the old school like TK, and a lot of that old school TK, if you go, because like I get my stuff tested that I grow myself just so I kind of see where the THC numbers are at. I've grown some TK that tested in stuff that I've had tested like 28%.
We lost you.
Oh, did I cut out?
Yeah, you said you've had stuff that tested at.
I'm sorry about this internet connection I got. Okay. But no, I was saying that like I've had TKs before.
Yeah, we heard that
tested at 19%, but what like got you way more high than stuff that I've gotten tested that tested as high as like 26 to 28%.
Mm-hmm. So going back to when I mentioned OG Kush throwing herm on everything, and I'm not saying it's the culprit. It's a factor. There's vectors to everything, and that's one of them. And OG Kush is all over everything. And yes, it has that.
Some of the strains that came from bag seed originally.
Yeah, I mean, look, my male that I crossed everything was a bag seed, but the reason I used it is because of all his other properties. You know what I mean? So everything in there might herm for all I know. I have yet to test. Mm-hmm. But I remember smoking stuff back in the days that were not this crazy high THC after OG Kush came along, and they started throwing it on everything because it tested out at like fucking 25%, and so it's on everything now to make everything else high. Everything before that was 18-20% maybe was high, and you had a load of terpenes in there. You had a full profile, which is why I also recommend you stay away from any isolates. Strictly, not that they're bad for you and won't do anything for you. It's an efficacy thing, right? You're going to have to take 5, 6, 7 times as much of an isolate as you will as something that's a full profile compound. That's why I say go for a CBD flower and throw it in your mix. Throw it in there. You'll be all right. I run I run a half ounce a cup when I do my oils. My shit's pretty high. Pretty loaded, but it works, and I'm actually gonna up it to get it stronger.
Hell yeah!
I have
But
noticed.
I think we do got to start wrapping this up a bit here, Rasufa. But
Okay, bud.
did you got any shout outs you wanted to give?
DGC, IR Army, love you guys. You know, love my Ganjier family. You know, all of us, man. The Canna world. We're fucking
The
changing
whole
the world.
community.
We need to cover it in some green, and we need to teach everybody we can to grow some of their own and even food. You know, let's get into an organic movement. I'm moving away from salts. I'm going to start trying to water my plants inside with my fertilizer I make here on the property out of inputs on the property, because I can control that and I know the chain of custody. You know,
Yeah. You know,
Organic
everything that happened to it, all the inputs.
and you know, shout out to you and Alicia. I appreciate you guys having me. It's real cool. We'll get
Hell
Dirk
yeah,
on.
man. We were honored to have you on.
Oh, I'd love to come back. Get
Oh, we're
Juf on.
definitely doing a part 2. We're definitely
Cool.
going to do a part 2 at some point.
Bring Juf, or maybe we'll run that thing with G-Bay or something. Get somebody on here who can help me, because I'm the
Hell
fucking.
yeah.
But
That would be a good one. Get you and Juf on an episode with
man. I'll do it.
somebody. I don't know.
He's
We
my
could
boy.
definitely make that
He
happen.
saved my life, man.
I talk to Juf all the time.
That guy saved my life, bro. Like, he's gold with me forever. If he ever comes to California, dude, I'm gonna fucking cook that bro a steak dinner. You know what I'm saying? You too,
Hell
man.
yeah.
Come on out. We got the best. Bring the wife. Fucking, we got room right there.
Well, it's actually kind of the cool thing because, like, these past couple years since I've been going to the Cup, I pretty much gotta like plan my whole year around that, and it's almost like all my vacation time. Well, I mean, I get more time than that, but that's kind of like the most. Like right now, I can pretty much only get like 1 full week off at a time, even though I got 2 weeks vacation. But the other week, kind of, you almost have to break it up. You know what I mean? Just with other stuff and everything else. But this September, I'm going to make 5 years at my job. So I'm going to get a 3rd week of vacation. So I'm going to have so that'll be like 2 weeks to where like, okay, Colorado for a week. Then I got that week that, I'm going to have to break up for whatever. But then I'll have like another paid week to go do like something.
I highly recommend pre-cup and post-cup in Colorado.
Yeah.
I always show up on like Thursday so that I'm rested for Friday. And sometimes something happens Thursday. You can, at the very least, pull into the Days Inn in the back, and there will be DGC sitting at that table smoking weed that you can pull.
I guarantee it.
With every time.
Dude,
Unless
you know that Days Inn tried to charge me $250 but they tried to give me a whole story about it, saying that they had to bring an ozone generator into my room because it smelled so strongly of smoke.
It's not smoke, it's the weed we bring in.
But no, like I smoke cigarettes too. Like I know I smoked a couple cigarettes in the room, whatever. But like I brought my own Febreze. I cleaned up after myself. It's like, give me a break. Like,
did you smoke?
I ended up. Well, that's irregardless. I may or may not have disputed it with American Express, and I got my money back.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah,
but they were just being like shitheads about it, anyways.
I think they're all doing that. We're weed friendly, and then trying to nail you for the weed.
Right.
Clean
So it's
food.
like you guys tried to get me, but I kind of got you, but it just didn't work out in your favor at the end of the day. You still got the money for the nights that I stayed there, so you can kiss my ass.
I hope I can make it this year. All my travels and stuff have been on. I'll just be honest about it. I inherited some money when some people died, and that's when I took time off from doing construction and started getting hard into cannabis and decided to do the Ganjier thing. And, so that's all gone. And I need to keep working now. So will I have the funds to get to Colorado this next year? I hope so. I hope I
see you, man.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to come to your wedding, and I told Raider that I would help him because this is a big time for him when the Cup comes, and And I hope I can make it out there to do all that.
Yeah. We need you out there, man.
Oh, I appreciate it. The DGC has shown me nothing but love. I love the DGC so much. Scotty and the dude have been great, and the whole crew behind the scenes. There's so many great guys that everybody doesn't know about. You know, Warehouse Kyle has always been the bomb for me.
It's my boy.
Yeah, nice guy Larry.
Soup the gardener.
Soup, you know, I mean,
Uncle Jim.
Nice guy Kenny, I mean. And
nice guy Kenny.
Larry was the builder guy who helped build out the grow. I'm not sure. I had a couple of times with him. I fucking love Mike Just Mike, Scotty's old boy from back in the day in LA. I always have a great time with Mike. Fucking shout out Mike Just Mike. Fucking love that guy. You know, there's just some people. And for sure, my major DGC homie, Naven Johnson, and his wife, Terry, his name's actually Jason.
Big shout out, Maven.
That's my boy. He's part of my crew every time I go out there. You know, I hang with Jason and Terry every time. That's his real name. And Blue and Sonny. The five of us are a pretty tight-knit group. And this last year, I hooked up with, oh gosh, I forget their names, but there was this couple that joined us, this younger couple, and they're really awesome too. They're in the IG. You'll see them. We were hanging out with them, you know. Quentin, I think his name was, and his wife, I forget what she was, but they're
Quentin and Brianna.
And Brianna, thank you.
They're the kids out of St. Cloud, Minnesota. Yeah,
great kids. They
the St. Cloud kids. We know the St. Cloud kids.
Yeah,
big shout out to Brianna. Big shout out to Q.
Yeah. So they're good, and we all did Meow Wolf together and shit. Had a great fucking time. Yeah. So definitely go before and after, because shit goes down, and you meet your crew. Like, dude, where's my bong is one of your crew. You guys will have a chance to do shit afterwards. You know what I mean? Because during the cup and the day of the party, forget it, bro. You know, you might get lunch, right? But you want to go to Denver and do something? That's possible. Like on Sunday or Monday.
Right. Go up to the mountains.
Yeah, bro. Banner took
might
me
go to the Church of Cannabis.
With my girlfriend. One year.
But that's the cool thing about the cup. Like, you'll go and you'll just get like invited to stuff. Like, hey, do you want to come to this breakfast tomorrow? Hey, we're going up to the mountains tomorrow. Do you want to come with? Hey, we're going to do. So it's like the cup's kind of like the main thing. You know, I definitely advise. I know it costs a little bit extra, but do the VIP party if you're going to go. Do the VIP party, do the cup, and then Sunday is pretty much where you get like invited from the friends that you make while you're there.
I forget her name.
And everybody's super approachable.
Who was the girl who took second place for the Slur King? Can't remember her name.
Treke.
So Treke,
she's out of Illinois. She doesn't live too far from me.
Treke is a great one for that. If anybody's ever at the cup and you want to hook up, like do a group breakfast, Treke's always setting up a group breakfast. You know, and she and I did a
big
couple.
Shout out to her boyfriend, husband. I'm not sure. I don't know what his actual name is, but his Instagram name is Ball for Life 420 or something like that. Yeah. So shout out Ball for Life too.
Yeah, hook up with those guys if you want to do like a group breakfast. They're always banging out a group breakfast and taking over a lunch spot, you know. And I've done it too.
Yeah.
We've done it together. That's too big. Like we've
right. You remember that one time we were about to tear up that fucking Waffle House, but like everybody was there. It was like Grambo was there, ICANN THC was there,
I wasn't at that
token was there.
I wasn't.
Oh really?
No.
That was 23. Yeah.
So
I thought you were there for some reason. I don't know. I almost felt like you were at the Waffle House.
Maybe I was. I don't know.
But yeah, it's kind of like the spin-offs of where Colorado is a fun time.
It is. But, you know, she and I like try to do a couple together and it gets too big because a lot of people want to go. Like I told you, I got a group of 5 for sure. And sometimes we got stragglers. And then she's got a group of like fucking 5 or more, you know, and we don't have the room for it. Like one time she had set something up and I I said, cool, we'll bring my group with your group. And we got there and we had like fucking 12 people or something. And they put us outside and it was kind of raining. So some of us were getting dripped on and some of us weren't. And she was like, I could tell she was a little pissed off that my whole group, because, you know, I have my table and we went boom. My group definitely swarmed around me and she and I really couldn't even talk or whatever. It became two groups anyways, you know?
Right.
Not that we weren't connected. We just didn't have the space. This didn't work.
Right. It's why we need a Raider Dank Fader to open that place because DGC will always get preferential treatment in there. You know what I mean?
No kidding, bro. You know what'll happen?
We'll have like a landmark.
I'll be working. He'll fucking throw me in the back if I go there. Cortez, this was awesome, bro. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate your time, brother.
I'd love to come back.
Fuck yeah. We're going to make that happen.
Let's do that. We got a couple ideas. We can do the hash or we can bullshit with Joof. I'd love to hear from Joof. I haven't chop it up with him in a minute.
Fuck yeah. We'll figure it out. We talk in DMs on a pretty regular basis. So I know how to get a hold of you.
Thanks for hanging out, chat. Oh, G-Bay's in here. Fucking A. We were just talking about him. Get G-Bay on here to do a press with me. Maybe he's got a bunch of flour right now. He could press some shit. That boy just had an epic harvest. I mean, more than he's ever had.
My internet keeps dropping. I'm not sure how long. So by next week, these Comcast people should be out. I'm still on this DSL connection here through AT&T. All right.
Thanks,
until next week, guys.
Thanks, Cortez.
Hell yeah. Peace out, everybody.
Let me this bitch or thought it.